Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Friday in the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke Grimsley, Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis, Matthew Rocc, Randy Carricker, 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Kids, we're back on the YouTube.
Yeah.
We are back, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
This feels weird, right?
Yeah, we're back on the screen. It's just so cool.
You can see our face.
I'm thrilled.
Yes.
So all you need to do, if you want to hear us and see us, is go to youtube.com, www.youtube.com, and then type in 101 ESPN STL, and it'll say something to the effect of the opening drive live, and you just click on that, and you'll be able to see our faces.
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
There we go.
We're not pretending to be somebody
We're real
anymore.
people.
Is that what happened?
We were
and
impersonating.
Was there any explanation as to who we were impersonating or what was the reason why we got this taken away for us?
I'm sticking that we were impersonating a quality program.
Okay. I can see one may see that.
Yeah.
Either way, we're back on the YouTube. And, you know, it sucks because I don't know about you guys, but my evening gown I've been wearing is at the dry cleaners. And so it just conveniently, it's the weekend, you know, I had to go send it out for that.
So Brooke, today is Friday, so it's game day. So I actually wore my coach's gear and took off my suit that I've been wearing, my couple of suits that I've worn. It's amazing how we talked about it, that this would happen in this manner. It just would be the off day that we would
Just
not be
happens.
prepared. And here, you all missed our lovely attire for the last week and a half.
And I've been wearing a tux, as you guys know, every single day.
Yeah.
Did you
have
guys
a collared
enjoy
shirt on today,
did
though,
you,
so you're good.
Among the tuxes, did you enjoy the pink one or the purple one more?
So it was the blue one, the baby blue one that you wore.
Yeah.
That
It's
was
so
like
it's
it just reminded me of Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber. It was delightful, but it was more sophisticated than that. You know, he was a clown. You were looking
I was trying to be
great.
serious.
Yeah.
I favored the pink.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
That
The
was
pink,
nice.
the
We
pink
should've
was
took
great,
pictures.
but I think the baby blue, too. It was stunning.
And now with the Blues playing a game tomorrow, I've worn a Blues polo today.
Very nice.
Hashtag LGB, Blues and Coyotes tomorrow, pregame at noon here on 101 ESPN. So that will be fun. Looking forward to
Why
that.
are you laughing, CD?
Just laughing while looking at what's going on the
So
screen.
normally at this time, we would be talking about Cardinal highlights for you. But unfortunately,
have to?
the Cardinals lost 6-0 yesterday, 6-0 at the ballpark to the Milwaukee Brewers. So, not a whole lot to talk about. Here's the thing, though, and I think we haven't stressed this enough. And by the way, the Cardinals are pretty close to being mathematically eliminated from being in fourth. They're almost assured of finishing in last place. They're 5 games behind the Pirates now.
Oh.
So they're 67 and 86. They've got a pretty good chance to not lose 100 games.
Well, that's
or 90 for that matter. Well, no, they're going to lose 90.
yeah,
Are
Sorry.
we doing
9
sunshine
games
and
left.
lollipops now?
Yeah, so
no.
Oh.
No, we can't play that.
So
a 90
72. If they go, I know they aren't going 5-4, are they? In their last 9.
No, they
Probably
got a
not.
chance to lose 4 games.
So they aren't going 72 and 90. So 70 and 92. 4 more wins. Or 3 more wins? No.
They got 9 games left. We're correct.
Yes. Okay, 3 and 6. Okay.
3 and
You
6.
said no. Well,
Maybe
especially
they go. I don't know.
if they are playing like how they've been a little bit lately. Guys, I'm a tad bit concerned about Miles Michaelis.
Don't concern yourself.
A tad bit
he
concerned?
said next year's the year.
I know, and I think that I became even more concerned after he said that next year. He said, I have a good year, I have a bad year. This is a bad year. Next year, bet on me. I don't know how to feel about that, considering that there's so many question marks with the starting rotation. I want to have at least one sure thing or 2.
I don't want to cast aspersions, but my sense is that Miles Michaelis cares as much as I do right now about the results of his team.
That's probably fair. Counting down the days.
Yeah. Saying, okay, can we get to 70 wins? Probably no. So that's probably where those guys are. So
especially in that 6th inning where everything just fell apart. He gave up 4 runs, and that 3-run homer was just bad. I know that we've talked about the Cardinals' offense being really reliant on the home run, but what about the pitching also being susceptible to the home run this season?
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah.
But I wonder if in a situation like that one, I think that's a perfect illustration. Like, Carrie, your son plays sports, and I think sometimes, especially if there's one team that's better than the other, you can see the team that's losing essentially say, "Oh, to hell with this," and just kind of quit, right?
Yes.
And I think that Miles, this kind of happened, and it's it started spiraling, and it's to hell with this.
I have one follow-up question though. How much does your son make playing the sports that he likes to play?
He doesn't get paid anything.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
I'm just saying, if you're getting paid quite a bit of money, I think that some people expect you to perform a little bit better. A little bit, because it is on the players to go out there and perform and execute what they need to.
Those are special players.
Okay.
They really are. When you're out of the race and you're in the 6th month and you have 10 games left, most guys check out.
Yeah.
Now, there are guys that never, Pete Rose, and his teams were always in it, but there are guys that never slow down and will play out. Tyler O'Neill's going to play out every single play that he plays, 100%. All 6 or 7 of them. But some guys, why are we laughing? I mean, I'm saying he hustles.
Well, that's
Hustle's a
debatable.
little too hard, maybe. I don't know.
I can just say this from my standpoint. I would probably check out just like Miles Michaelis has.
I guess so.
Or
It's just
I think
that
he has.
I hear you on that. I guess it's just the fact that when you have so many questions when it comes to pitching for next season, I think that that's an area that's still being evaluated when Mozeliak's looking at how many starting pitchers he needs to go out and get next season. If Miles Michaelis is having this significant of a drop-off, and I get it's the second half, we already knew where they're at, but when you're trying to figure out the pieces of the puzzle for the starting rotation next season, I at least need to know who's going to be where and which other pieces I need to go out and to get. Because if there's anything that I've seen lately from the starting pitching is it's confirmation that you really do need to get 3 starting pitchers.
Absolutely, Brooke. There's no doubt about it.
You do.
Yeah, I just want to point out that Andrew Suarez is not making it into the Holy Trinity. Go ahead.
It's definitive now. It was questionable before, but now,
Yeah, I mean,
we are firm in that
we are
decision
firm
at this
with
point.
Palante, with Chris Vonderhaar, and of course, Selah.
Okay.
Of course.
We definitely have that. My concern, and I have said it, I have stated it time and time again. Yes, they need help, both in the starting rotation and relievers. Where does that help come from? Outside of the organization? Does it come from inside of the organization? We don't know what McGreevy or Graceffo are going to be. We don't know what a couple of these guys, Tekoa Roby that they traded for. We don't know what those guys are going to be. We don't know if they're going to go out and sign or trade for a Dylan Cease, or if they're going to try to sign a Blake Snell. You have no idea what is going to happen, but you know something needs to happen. There needs to be a level of competition when they get to spring training, because competition breeds the best players on the field. When you have to fight for your spot, and maybe when you talk about the World Baseball Classic, maybe that did have an impact on it, because there was not a lot of competition. There was not a lot of guys pushing one another. It was kind of set in stone. These guys are at the World Baseball Classic. They're going to be on the roster when they return, and there's no need to compete or fight for a roster spot because you know your role when they return. Maybe that did weigh heavily on what took place in spring training. Come 2024, when they get down to Florida, they need to have a real competition for pretty much all of those starting positions to see who's the ace, who's the 5th guy, who's not in that rotation, and who's in the bullpen, and who is not here at all.
Yes.
And if they don't have that, they will not be a good team. This has not been great to watch. It's been frustrating. It's been hard.
It's been terrible.
And it's been repetitive. And I think that's the part that is the most, I guess, the worst part of it all is it's happening over and over and over again. And it's like at some point, you know, let's figure out how to fix it, please.
Please do it and do it now. Some people texted in, and it's interesting because 2 texts said this. Maybe they're pitching bad, or Michaelis is dodging it on purpose so that they sign more rotation help.
That could be.
So what about that theory?
We're just going to go out there and stink it up so we can't. Listen, I can tell you that's not what, because the rotation might be you, not in it. So you
rotate yourself out.
You rotate yourself right on out of it. You better figure it out. Everyone needs to have their hair on fire in 2024 when it comes time to trying to make this team, trying to earn a spot in the bullpen, trying to earn a spot in the starting rotation. If you don't have that fire, that mindset going into spring training, you probably should move on. And that should be the Cardinals' philosophy as well. If you don't come into this offseason with your hair on fire, ready to compete, we probably don't need you.
Meanwhile, the flash from San Francisco, apparently official. The 49ers are really good.
They are.
Wow.
They are really good.
I am shocked.
Well, they got everything. I mean, Purdy is a stud. Christian McCaffrey is great, 18 carries for 85 yards. Deebo Samuel, 6 catches for 129 and a score last night. George Kittle, 7 for 90. McCaffrey catches 5 for 34. Purdy, 25 of 37, a couple of touchdowns, no picks, a passer rating of 111.3. And the Giants are compromised and just not that good. But the San Francisco 49ers have 30 points in each of their first 3 games, 30 exactly. And they're just workmanlike, and they bludgeon you. They steamroll you. It's an unfortunate scenario when you have to play the 49ers.
It's life, and they are going to line it up, strap it up. They got a very good offensive line. They're going to run the ball at you. They're going to play action fake, and then they got guys that when you throw them a 6-yard slant, they can turn it into a 25-yard run because they are strong, they are fast, they are big enough to break tackles. Deebo Samuel was looking like a man out there, a man amongst men who no one could stop him. And so. And Brandon Ayuk didn't even play. He was out for last night's game. Right. So they got a lot of talent that throughout that entire offense, but defensively, they play ball. They get after the quarterback. They are fun. They are a fun team to watch. They
really are. And with Brock Purdy, honestly, I didn't know what to expect going into him, but he has so many playmakers around him where even where you saw in that first half, it was just a little clunky for him early on where there was some few moments that could have been an interception possibly, but he has so many playmakers available. Even Ronnie Bell, too, with a great game. Yeah. But you have George Kittle, you have Christian McCaffrey, you have Deebo Samuel. I mean, there's so many playmakers around him where even when he has those moments, he's able to compose himself, and he did that in the second half. And he's not even making that much money. This whole formula that the 49ers have, you have a lot of stars, but Brock Purdy's making $870,000 this year, and it's so different than what you're seeing in the rest of the NFL right now.
It's one of the all-time great, and we talked about it last year, one of the all-time great, unbelievable stories that a handsome quarterback wearing number 10 goes down with a leg injury, and then a guy from Iowa wearing number 13 unheralded steps in, and all he has to do is get the ball to his teammates, and he does in spectacular fashion. And that's
you're not doing that comparison, are you?
Both 13. Yeah,
from Iowa. We didn't figure out if he was working at a grocery store or not.
That's the only difference.
Stocking shelves. We have to find that out.
We have to figure out at any point, was he stocking shelves, and if so, then we have our answer. This is a recreation of old Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
But the thing about Brock Purdy that I love, he never looks worried. He never looks stressed out. It's almost like he's the same regardless of the pressure that he's faced. He gets hit. It doesn't bother him. It's amazing to watch him play as a young quarterback in his second year and not have any stress. It just looks comfortable for him. He looks like this is where he belongs.
One other question before we get to Jed Stugart, the head coach of the Lindenwood Lions, coming up at our next segment. Brooke, a battle between a hawk and a colt. Who wins?
Are you talking about the animals?
Yes. The hawk frustrates the daylights out of the colt, pecks it, bothers it, and ultimately defeats the colt.
I think I'm going to have to go with the hawk.
Yeah,
I think
See how that hawk grabbed that football? We're going to.
They're intense.
We go down and grab what we need and fly away.
I like this a lot.
Yeah. You catch us if you can.
The Hawks at the Colts tonight at Hazelwood Central at Parkway Central. It's a battle of the Centrals.
Yes,
it'll be a good one.
It'll be a great one.
Good.
We're gonna get this offensive coordinator. We got to get his stuff together. You hear me? This guy.
What's that guy's name?
It's Carey Davis. He's been stinking it up out there. So hopefully, we call plenty. But
gonna dial it up tonight.
We got to figure some things out offensively. Hopefully tonight is the night.
Nice going back, Canada.
They would take him right now at any point.
Brooke, Carey, Randy, and we're on the YouTube. Again, go to youtube.com and just type in 101 ESPN STL. Coming up next, it's Lindenwood and Illinois State this weekend. And we're going to talk to the Lions head coach, Jed Stugart, next on 101 ESPN. With Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Carey Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. If you didn't know, we're back on the YouTube today. You can just go to youtube.com and type in 101 ESPN STL, and you can find us. My alma mater, the Lindenwood Lions, are Division I. After an impressive 43-40 win over Western Illinois last week in Macomb, the Lions are going to visit the Redbirds of Illinois State tomorrow, and that game will be played at noon in Normal, Illinois. Coach Jed Stugart joins us. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Randy. Great to be on with you this morning.
Hey, I don't know why, but some people thought that last week's victory at Western Illinois was somewhat unexpected. I fully expected that the Lions would come away with a victory, but it was a thriller. You had to enjoy the way that your team battled through that one.
Well, that's because that's how we plan to do it, man. We got to keep everybody excited and into the game a little bit, and then we pounce, you know. But it's, I think it was, a week ago we talked about just trying to figure out our team. The big question was, how are you going to respond after the week before? And so I was still asking that question in the first quarter and into the second quarter. But it was, the reality is at halftime they just, I could tell at half just, the way our offense, defense was talking to each other at halftime, just kind of taking accountability and saying, hey, we'll, that's on us, that's on us. And, we put out a little plan to start the second half, and they went out and executed it. It was pretty cool. Great way to come back and win.
Coach, I was going to ask you that 31-14 at halftime, how much conversation takes place from you? Was it all the young men speaking amongst themselves and kind of setting things straight, or did you all have to go in there and really do some re-game planning at halftime?
No, you know what, Gary, is one of those things where, I remember it on our team meeting that Sunday before, and then even on Friday in our walkthrough, I reminded them of what they've been averaging every quarter, and usually they have a pretty decent second quarter. And I just reminded us that, hey, on average right now, they've been scoring, 3.5 points a game in the third and 4.5 points a game in the fourth. And, and we get the ball back going in the second half. If we go down and score, you guys will win this game. It just, the doubt will creep in. We'll get the momentum, and, that's exactly what our team did, and you could kind of feel that momentum shift. And but no, it was, I just kind of lay out a few things that we got to kind of fix in the first half that, just the little self-inflicted wounds that, stop doing that. And then, they knew exactly the things that they needed to do. Again, it just came down to the littlest of things that we didn't do the week before that we talked about. And they started doing that. But, our team grew up a lot. I told you this was going to be a really young team this year, and we've got some growing up to do. And I think that half, I think a lot of our guys kind of grew up and found out that, hey, we can do this when we put our minds to it.
And if we want to focus in on one area, a 10-play, 75-yard drive to win it with just over a minute left, to me, that would be the sort of thing that would really help a team grow up, is not just overcoming the big deficit, but then doing so in the last minute of a game.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of those things where it's almost a gift, It's kind of like, it's, hey, a great opportunity. You seized it. There was a lot of confidence, even in the timeouts. You could just see in the huddle, these guys finally kind of believing in themselves. I keep telling them, we believe in you. You guys got to start believing in yourselves when it comes to playing. Now, now the big test is the next step that I'm talking about is playing 4 quarters like that. It's kind of like, the Redbirds aren't the type of team. I don't think we can keep digging out of deficits at halftime all the time. We need to come in and we need to start fast. We need to kind of play consistent 4 quarters. And that's the next step because we haven't done that yet.
Well, Coach, I wanted to ask you about the connection between Cole Duggar with a great game. He threw 5 touchdowns, 4 of which were to Jeff Caldwell. And for his performance, he was named the Big South OVC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. Just tell me about his progression, Caldwell's progression this season.
Man, Jeff is, you're not supposed to take a hitch route for a touchdown. That's, that doesn't usually happen. And, Jeff's got that kind of ability. I mean, threw it out there, made a couple of guys miss and go. Now, Jeff's a great story when he got here to Lindenwood, a couple of years ago. You talk about growing up and maturing and doing those things. Wasn't immature in a bad way, just like I think a lot of it just believing in the type of player he can be, and just really committed to, sometimes when guys have a lot of natural raw ability, it hurts them because they don't feel like they got to work real hard. Everything comes natural. And I think Jeff has made a conscious decision to start to work harder and do those things. A year ago, Coach Javork has done a great job coaching him. And you could just see that. And, I always say you play like you practice. And that's what Jeff's been doing. And so, the personal inside story is what's special. Because a game like that doesn't surprise me about Jeff. If he's in the vicinity of a ball, he's going to come down with it. And has the potential to have a really nice season.
Because that's the amazing thing about sports and football specifically. You can have a guy with all of the talent in the world, but if they don't have the confidence, it's really hard to pull it out of them. How do you get them to understand, as you said, you all have all of the ability. You just got to go out there and do it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that can be a hard thing to do. But I know that even last year, I think Coach Javork has done a great job with Jeff because number one, I think Jeff found out early that just having a great, just being a great receiver doesn't mean you're going to get through practice very pleasant. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, hey, if you're not going to work hard, then you're going to go stand over there and you're not going to play. And I think, because we love you too much, we care about you, we believe in you too much to shortchange you like that. And I think, so just patience and making him understand, like, hey, being great just doesn't entitle you to play. And I think, when you saw that last spring where it started clicking, like, And he wasn't a defiant kid. He's not a bad kid at all. He just probably hadn't been pushed a lot because he's always been the best guy on the court and on the field just because of his height and athleticism. And so give a lot of credit to Coach Javorka just drawing that out of him, and it's clicking, because if he stays on this pace, this is a kid that can play on Sundays.
Two more things for the Lindenwood Lions head coach Jed Stugart. Number one, we've talked before about the move to Division I allowing you to open some doors from a recruiting standpoint. What's it like when you tell a kid about a game like last week and about the culture that you have developed at Lindenwood and how much fun it is and how much winning is going on? Does a win like last week make a difference in recruiting?
I think so. I mean, I think people, Randy, they see because we're talking about our direction. We talk about, it's going to be, it takes time. There's potholes, there's things when you move up a level. And so when you see wins like that, I think it helps connect that's saying, hey, these are things that Coach has been talking about, that there's going to be these type of wins, and these, we're headed that direction. And, because I've often wondered, does wins and losses really help or hurt in recruiting? I make cases for both of them, but at the end of the day, I think it helps, because you're matching up to things that you're telling your recruits, and so having, and every game we win this year that we hope to win and keep winning, we are the underdog, and so it's kind of like telling guys like, hey, these are, first of all, we're not expected to win. Everybody's saying we're going to lose, and then you pull off a win like this, it does help, no doubt.
And then finally, and I know that you're focused on tomorrow in Normal, Illinois, but man, it's been a rugged 3-game trip for you guys, and you finally get to come home next week.
Yeah, we can't wait. Obviously, I'm fired up to get there tomorrow, and we leave today. But the game tomorrow. But yeah, how fun will it be to finally be able to get through this weekend and hopefully come back with a good success and come into, finally come back home, play in front of our fans. So, but we gotta get through this one, and I think our guys are dialed in to give it our best effort.
Jed Stugart, on behalf of all Lindenwood alums, we're with you, win or tie.
Love it.
All right,
Guys, have a great day.
Well, you too.
Yeah.
Good luck tomorrow. We'll see you next week. That's Jed Stugart, the head coach at Lindenwood on 101 ESPN. Yeah, we're with you, winter time. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, we're going to talk some golf with our buddy Jay Delsing. The Ryder Cup right around the corner, and it's always interesting and it's always fun to talk about that. And it's next on 101 ESPN. As you know, I am a regular over at the Fenton Bar and Grill in Fenton on Rudder Road. You can find what they have at FentonBarandGrill.com. But let me tell you about their specials on Fridays because it sounds delicious. It is delectable. It's their shrimp, sausage, and chicken jambalaya. Comes with rice. It's only $14.95 and is absolutely delicious. The soup of the day over at Fenton Bar and Grill is clam chowder. So as we get into the cooler months of the St. Louis year, there's nothing like going to the Fenton Bar and Grill and having some of their delicious comfort food for a great lunch, a great dinner. Maybe you want to get together with a business colleague, or maybe you just want to get together with friends, or their spectacular happy hour. Well, the Fenton Bar and Grill is the place to go. They have fantastic food, but they have the best servers in town. Alicia's going to be there. I had a chance to say hi to Megan and Kelly the other day. The whole crew is absolutely wonderful to deal with and to talk to. And everybody at the Fenton Bar and Grill is all about sports, just like we are here. You will love the Fenton Bar and Grill. Get the special today. Learn more by going to FentonBarandGrill.com. And when you go, tell them Randy sent you.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals dropped their series to the Brewers 3-1 with a 6-0 loss last night. Miles Michaelis, 5 innings pitched, 9 hits, 5 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and 2 home runs allowed. He has allowed 15 home runs in his last 13 games pitched. Cardinals start a 3-game series against the San Diego Padres tonight, 8:40 p.m. first pitch here. And St. Louis City is back in action this week, and they face off against Minnesota United on Saturday evening, 7:30, and also on Saturday, a split squad game for the Blues early on in the day, Saturday, 2 p.m. against the Coyotes, and then later on at 7 p.m. also against those same Coyotes. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN. And next week, it's the Ryder Cup. It will be played in Italy at the Marco Simone Golf and Country Club. Joining us this morning, as he does every Friday morning here on 101 ESPN, is Jay Delsing, host of Golf with Jay Delsing, Sunday mornings 8 to 10 here on 101 ESPN. Good morning, Mr. Delsing. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. What does it mean when Coach Stugart talks about after their loss, you know, they regrouped and rallied the troops, and I slept the entire week after Ascension. I think our trains were heading opposite directions. I'm not sure.
Okay, my question: when you were sleeping, were you in the fetal position?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There was a little rigor set in a couple of times, and I think someone threw a towel in, saying, this thing's over. It's over.
Okay, yeah, you aren't in regroup mode yet, Jay. You're just in.
I'm still in full-blown surrender mode. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, do you look for this Ryder Cup that is played next week in Italy? Is this going to be competitive? I look at the teams, and I see no reason why it should not be a really compelling 4 days of golf.
Oh, I really think it will be. They always are. I mean, if you look at, I'm more concerned about the U.S. team than I am the Euros. I got to get together with Colin Montgomery at the week of the Ascension, and I promised put on a great function, and I got to interview him. And he was trying to convince me that the Euros are a huge underdog because of their rookies and things like that. And I'm just not buying it. The European squad does a great job of picking golf courses that suit their teams extremely well. Their players, Rennie, and I think this is the biggest thing. Their players have played probably 30 to 40 rounds of golf at there in Rome. And man, our U.S. team hasn't played more than 3. There's a when you get that familiarity with a golf course, I think that's a huge advantage.
Well, Jay, I wanted to ask you about Parkway Central alum Michael Block earning a spot in another PGA Tour event. What do you have to say about his play? And it was obviously a stunning show recently that he was able to do. But what do you think about the local legend story just continuing to grow?
Brooke, what he did at Oak Hill's impossible. I mean, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen for club pros. It's not that these guys, aren't necessarily good. They just don't, at that level, they just don't play an event with that kind of competition very often. I mean, to do what he did with Rory McIlroy, the hole-in-one, the whole thing, I mean, it's a scripted movie. There's no way. I mean, I was so enthralled, and I've sent him some texts. We just haven't fully connected, but I want to get him on the show and just talk a little bit about this ride that he's on, because it's I'm in the weeds on all this stupid golf stuff, but his name is popping up every week, making another hole-in-one or doing something that is kind of unexpected. So yeah, whatever he does is pretty damn amazing. I mean, I know he shot a couple of course records here in the last month or so he's obviously playing a lot of good golf.
Jay, speaking of Rory McIlroy, he says he knows why he hasn't won a Masters yet. And he was on a podcast. He said, I think sometimes it's because it's the one I haven't won. The only thing I think about that week is winning it. And that's not the way to approach a golf tournament. He says, I just feel at Augusta I get too results-oriented too early instead of getting myself in the tournament and playing my way into contention like I do at every other tournament. Is that when you're in that moment of, one of the biggest golf tournaments in the world that's happening, he's thinking about it too much instead of just playing his game, right?
Absolutely, Kerry. And here's the other thing that's such a mind-numbing about Augusta. It's the only major venue that doesn't change every year. We go to Augusta in the spring. Everybody knows where the flagstick's going to be on Sunday. It just messes with you because these are really, really capable golfers that are all prepping the same way, guys. When you go to the practice rounds and everything, it's amazing to watch. Everybody is hitting chips and putts from the same area because, 99% of the time your ball's going to funnel in this little, collection area, and you're going to need to try to figure out how to handle it. And I read that article, Kerry, and I thought it was a great article because Rory said, I remember he said, there's these big scoreboards, these white scoreboards, and they're all over the place, so you can't avoid them. And I remember him saying he saw that at one point in time he was 10 strokes behind Brooks Koepka, and he said he remembers, trying to make something happen, and obviously he wound up missing the cut. And so he's got to get back into staying present, playing. It sounds so boring, you guys, but it's the only way to climb the golf mountain is one shot at a time. And you have to free it up and not worry about where it goes. It is really hard to do.
Jay, I have an equipment question for you that I've never asked. We've talked a lot about the advancement of technology in equipment. Has the technology of the putter advanced substantially?
It really has, Randy. So Scotty Cameron is the first to really take this to a big high level. Now, Ping the Ping, the Karsten Solheim family has been making great golf equipment, guys, since I've been a kid. They started it in their garage. They started it in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Karsten Solheim and his sons make great, really, really solid equipment. But Scotty Cameron took it to an entirely different level, getting all of these things laser cut, Randy, and measuring all of these. I mean, now you can get and people probably don't know this, but every putter has loft on it. You don't want to have your putter an exact straight face. Otherwise, the ball would more than likely get beat into the ground. What you actually want the ball to do is just kind of skim along the top of the ground until it starts rolling again after you hit it. And Scotty Cameron was the first to laser measure these and then get the heads of the putters lasered out of pieces of metal and use different sorts of metal for different feels and things like that. So the putters, and so there's also lie angles, Randy, for your different heights of men and women. So if you're a shorter guy, you're going to want a little flatter lie angle. If you're a taller guy like I am, you're going to want a little more like probably a 71 or 72 degree lie angle on there. But it really has come a long, long way. And they used to just kind of throw. I've got a basement full of putters that just don't feel good anymore because these new putters are so much better.
Jay, I noticed that some people switch their hands when they're putting. I think Randy does it.
No, I'm not a cross-hander.
Why? What's the purpose of that? And does it work better than putting normal?
Sounds like you're searching, Kerry.
I'm looking. I'm trying to find some things here.
No, Gary, they're basically looking for a different sort of feel. So, I mean, there's been this overall thought, and the Golf Channel has thrown out a lot of good stuff over the years, but guys, it has really screwed up a lot of people too. And when it comes to chipping, pitching, and putting, they talk on the Golf Channel about you got to keep your hands firm and you have to keep them way ahead. And that just nobody that plays on Sunday does that unless they're under a tree trying to hit this little low shot to keep the ball real low. Their hands have to stay soft and supple. Imagine Michael Jordan shooting a free throw. He spins the ball, it comes back to him. His wrists are soft and supple, and that's where you get all of your feel, you guys. Imagine Albert Pujols trying to hit a major league, baseball while not being supple with it and quick with his hands. I mean, all that thinking slows you down. The golf swing takes just over a second to happen. You can't be thinking about a lot of stuff. One thought and one thought only. So when guys are going left hand low or cross-handed or they're doing the pencil grip, that's all these things, they're trying to just get a different feel, Kerry, and what they're looking for is just to try to make a damn putt. I mean, most of these guys would putt with a hockey stick if they thought they would get it in a hole. They really would. And I'm included in that.
And there was one tour guy, I remember, he had a really short, but it was an astronomical run. Remember Happy Gilmore?
Ken Green.
Yeah.
It was Ken Green. That guy made about a 60-foot putt on the 18th hole. Not that I remember this. On the 18th hole at Memphis when I was to tie for second with me, which only cost me about $43,000. I don't remember much of that. I don't remember all of it. I just remember some of it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Hey, Jay, it's always good to hear your voice. Who do you have on the show on Sunday morning?
Danny Mack and I have Chris Pronger on the show, you guys, and he was so fun. I don't know if you got to see any of the celebrity shootout at the Ascension Charity Classic, but Prongs was out there with Chief and Ozzy and Robert Thomas and Hale Irwin, and somebody was chirping him on the 17th, where they had that really cool amphitheater setting down there, and Prong said to him, "You sound pretty brave up there in row 3. Why don't you come on down to the green?" So Prongs was challenging somebody out on the 17th, and it was golf. So we were trying to make it. It was really fun. We also have Mike Small, who is the University of Illinois golf coach, and I know you knew this already, Kerry, but University of Illinois men's golf team is a national powerhouse.
Yes,
they haven't won the national championship, but they're ballers up there, and Mike Small is really a good guy.
They are really good.
Yeah, so they got that going for them.
That was a mouthful in that question, Randy. You already said when you asked that again. I didn't stop.
We're looking forward to it. Jay, have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good show.
Jay Delsing with us on 101 ESPN. So they got the golf going, which
We
is
do
nice.
have, we've always had a really good golf team.
Good.
Yeah, but other teams aren't.
Coming up.
How's football doing right now?
Don't worry about that.
Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Take it or leave it coming your way next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're talking about selling your home this weekend, I need you to know about Gloria Liu, because when you're selecting your sales agent, they must have the experience, a proven track record, and guarantees. You know who checks all of those boxes? Gloria does. She's the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and she knows that as a home seller, you need assurance, and that's why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed-to price and time frame, or she'll buy it. Gloria has been successfully selling homes in our area for over 20 years, and she can do the same for you. Why? Because she already has the buyers. Gloria is able to guarantee the sale of your home in writing because she's got thousands of ready buyers. She has over 20 years of buyers in an exclusive database looking to buy in your neighborhood and in your price range. That's how Gloria nets you the most money and creates the highest demand, many times with multiple offers, which means more money in your pocket. Call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. If you're looking to sell your home for the most money and the fastest time frame, get in touch with Gloria Liu again at 314-325-6888.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Liu Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Time for Take It or Leave It on 101 ESPN. The number 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. That's our Air Comfort Service text line. Brooke, Carrie, Randy, and Matthew, and we want you to participate. So the Travis Kelce-Taylor Swift relationship is heating up a little bit. Kelce going on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and said that he's been talking to Taylor Swift and invited her to a Chiefs game. Take it or leave it, Taylor should accept the invitation, accept the tickets, and then put them on StubHub.
Why would she do that?
Leave it.
Because the $2,000 per ticket that she's charging, not enough. Just need a little bit more.
Leave it. The whole relationship's been interesting. So they are talking.
They are talking,
I'm
according to
confused
Kelce.
about what's going on.
He says, quote, "It's hilarious how much traction this has actually got. I think it's right now. It's like that old game in school called telephone where everybody's just whispering in each other's ear, just hearing some random stuff." And he said that his brother Jason Kelce has been one of the main reasons that the gossip has exploded because he's talking about it all the time.
That's what brothers are for.
Yeah, but he's shooting a shot.
Yeah, if you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Randy.
I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't speak on it until it got like a little bit further along, but it seems like they're having fun with some of the attention coming from it.
Hey, if it works out,
it
why
works.
not?
And I do love their podcasts. They are hilarious. They're hilarious. Yeah.
They're funny. So there's visitors to the Royal Academy of Arts in London are expected to squeeze between two nude models to view a highly anticipated exhibit dedicated to the career of Marina Abramovich. Take it or leave it. You're not squeezed. You don't want to see any art that bad.
Yeah, I'll take that, yeah.
So are these like live nude models? Oh, there's a photo of it. So those are real people.
Real people.
That's Randy's like, let me see.
I wanted to see the shape of the people. They're very shapely.
They are.
They're fit.
Yeah.
But
so that you
one
can
is a man and the other is a woman.
Yeah, I'm not squeezing.
Why? Okay, here's another follow-up question. Why does art sometimes do some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen?
Brooke.
Oh, whoa. Is the art community going to come after
Because
me?
it's supposed to make you think.
Are they going to send nude people to come get me? I don't know.
It's supposed to challenge your boundaries and make you think.
Well,
what is that challenging me to do?
Clearly, it'd be a challenge for Carrie to get past it.
That's
all I'm saying.
Carrie, you just run right through them.
They're going to move.
Yeah.
I'm not turning my shoulders. I'm going straight forward.
It seems in my history of like taking art history classes, which I may or may not have flunked, but it does seem like
we saw your report.
Okay, it does seem like many artists did have dalliances with maybe hallucinogenic drugs, and maybe that's why they do weird things.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sometimes it's just very uncomfy.
It makes you think outside the box, I guess. I wouldn't suggest it.
He got chopped off his own ear. He Van Gogh'd himself.
And then became the most famous artist in the world after he died.
You just have to do that. Maybe that's what started all this, is that they realized, I got to kind of top that if I want to be the next great artist. And now I have to put nude models to make people uncomfortable.
Johnny Topper.
Yeah. Well, take it or leave it, guys. Wilson Contreras, as we saw, an update that you didn't want to see. He is going to basically be done for the rest of the season as he's dealing with this wrist issue. So they haven't announced the corresponding move yet. Take it or leave it. It's not going to be Moises Gomez. Take it or leave it. It's going to be Michael Ciani.
I am going to leave that. We have to see the catcher we got for Genesis Cabrera.
Oh, you want to see the catcher?
Yeah.
They got two already here. Well, three. One is hurt.
Well, one's hurt. Yeah, so you get a third one. Replace him with. No, it'll be Ciani. I'll take it. It'll be Ciani. But I would like to see
Moises Gomez.
I would prefer to see Moises Gomez. I don't think the Cardinals would prefer to see Moises Gomez.
You get a Jordan Walker, Moises Gomez, and Juan Yepes in the outfield.
Well, and then Yepes, he has some experience. You could put him at third base possibly, or give some guys some days off, because I think defensively, if we were talking about earlier that we know what's happening the rest of the season, why not give guys a chance? Here's the thing. I just think that it possibly could be Michael Ciani. But I'm looking at, if you're talking about bringing up another outfielder, why not with Moises Gomez? Because it feels like it's now or never with him, or it just seems like what you're saying, Randy. They've already decided what they see in him, and that's it.
Yeah, and he had a 753 OPS, has a 753 OPS.
30 home runs.
Yeah, so he's a legit power hitter. And they liked him last year. As a matter of fact, it seems like during spring training, they talked about the possibility of him being with the club. Maybe they just decided there was something they didn't like about him. That's too bad for him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Let me see if I can see a picture of Michael Ciani.
Couldn't pick him out of the lineup.
No.
There used to be a Mike Ciani that was a receiver in the NFL, I think.
I don't remember him.
Michael Ciani. Yeah, he fits the Cardinals mold.
Oh, and what is that, Randy?
Just saying.
Oh, okay. He's had 9 home runs this season, 48 RBI, 227 average. And so then when you compare that to Moises Gomez.
I was really confused when Randy said he fit the Cardinals mold. I thought he was a 35-year-old pitcher.
Does he look like Casey Lawrence or not?
Mike Ciani, 1972 through 1980, played for the Raiders and the Colts, had 158 career catches for 2,600 yards, 17 touchdowns. So, I don't know if he's related to Michael Ciani.
Oh.
Maybe they're related.
Let me see.
Maybe it's the same person. No, who knows?
All right. What do you got on the old text line there, Matthew?
Take it or leave it. We learn a lot more about the Kelce's and Taylor Swift's relationship on our next album.
Oh, take it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'm going to take that too. I bet that there will be some interesting things
I think they're
that
going to
could
be
come out of
in
that.
love.
Not for long. NFL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like they're both very busy, too, considering it's the NFL season. How would they make that work? And a world tour, is that still going on?
Maybe that's exactly the kind of
Still
person they
make it
need to
work.
be with.
Oh.
Maybe
Just
they're
never
both-
see each other?
Well,
That's like the
they're
perfect relationship.
Maybe they're both the kind of people who just they don't need to like constantly need to be around the person.
They're never in the same city. They
work.
maybe see each other for like 30 minutes.
Maybe that's what she
A
needs.
weekend every month.
Maybe it'll last that way. Take it or leave it. Mizzou's ranked number 21 when we're here on Monday.
Take it.
Who did they play? They played Memphis this
We
week.
play Memphis. We got here at the Dome. We've got Memphis tickets available. MUTigers.com. Call 1-800-CAT-PAWS. Go to Ticketmaster. They're number 27 right now in the country. They'll
Get
be
on board, Carrie.
4-0.
MIZ.
They'll be
MIZ, Carrie. MIZ.
Does it feel like the rankings, though, have not necessarily mattered with some of the teams that
Oh, yeah,
you've seen?
right.
Does it actually help? I don't know.
Well, but if you're a 4-0 SEC team, you're going to be in the top 25.
Of course, yes.
I'm going to leave it.
Oh, jeez. Is it because Mizzou's not undefeated anymore?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, wow. Good Lord. If they're 4-0, they will be ranked.
Why?
Because they're 27 right now. They win a game against a good Memphis team.
Okay.
They're going to be at least 24.
Yeah,
Well, you know what? Wait till they play Vanderbilt. Now that is what's
That's
going to
the
get them
real
into the top
challenge.
25 if they
yeah.
beat Vandy. That will decide it for sure.
no doubt about that.
Take it or leave it. Anybody else gets hurt, just put Wayno in their spot.
Take it.
Take it all day, yes.
No,
He's
I don't want to see him
recovering,
playing
too.
third base.
No.
I disagreed
I don't.
heartily.
I don't want to see it. I don't want him to get hurt.
No.
It's a
Didn't you
hot
say
corner.
that he's being like held together by duct tape
Yeah.
at this point too?
Come on. What are we doing here?
Take it or
Yeah, get him in at bat, and we're good.
Take it or leave it. Mizzou would be a 14-point favorite against the Illini.
Where's
Does
the
that
game?
does that make this person feel better?
You can ask them that.
Does it make you feel better that Illinois, like what type of person? I understand misery loves company, right? But you
Yeah.
know, does it make you feel better? We are the same.
In fairness, Carrie,
Literally, it's the same.
you ask what kind of person. We literally spent I think we spent 2 whole segments last year around this time debating about what the line would be between
Yeah, we
Mizzou and
did.
Illinois. We spent a lot of time talking about
We were
that.
good last year, though.
Fair point. Take it or leave it. St. Louis needs to find a way to build a 68,000-seat retractable roof stadium. For who?
Kind of late for that, yeah.
Is that not a legitimate question?
For what?
That is
Carrie
that
asked
is
the same
fair.
thing.
For what?
Exactly.
For who? For what?
For who? Yeah.
What about just updating the dome
Again, for who? For what?
for concerts and different things like that? The Battle Hawks, of course.
The battle USFL?
But here's the thing: I do think to attract more big events, you do need to update the dome.
I might be on one.
Yeah.
today. I don't know.
But I don't even know if you did the ultimate upgrades to the Dome. I don't know that it, for example, with where it is, you couldn't have had a Taylor Swift concert because of the ability to get all the trucks in and the footprint of the stadium. It just
Beyonce
doesn't.
did a concert there.
She did, but her footprint wasn't nearly as big as Taylor Swift's.
Oh, be careful, Randy.
Oh,
No, the footprint of the number of trucks and the space that they needed to hold their concert, it wasn't big enough. There just isn't enough room there. So Beyonce, I don't want the beehive on me. No.
Yeah.
I was like, you're gonna
be careful.
we're gonna
No,
get the art community after us. We're gonna get the beehive coming.
Yeah, I don't want any problem.
No, but it's we aren't building any stadiums anyway, so it's kind of a moot point. But no, we don't need it. We're fine.
Yeah. Leave it.
Take it or leave it. To get more base stealing next season, the Cardinals should readopt The Heat Is On.
Oh yeah, I'll take
I'll
it.
take that.
Absolutely.
Every time somebody gets on base.
Yep.
Yeah.
As soon as
like
they
that.
get on base.
Yeah.
One of
I
your
love
fast
that.
guys, yeah, why not? If nothing else, it puts something into the mind of the pitcher.
By the way, a perfect day to get that text. Happy birthday, Vince Coleman.
How old is Vince today?
That I do not know off the top of my
One of
head.
the great,
Oh, 59.
one of the greatest nicknames in the history of sport.
Little bit low, 62.
I don't get
And here's an amazing thing. Because it came up earlier in this very segment. His nickname, Vincent Van Gogh.
nice.
G-O.
Oh.
Yep. 110.
Oh, that
well.
is such a good nickname.
Yep.
The art, he teaches the art of base stealing.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
I never looked this up, but let's take a look, guys.
Vincent Van Gogh and the base burglar. God, they just don't make nicknames like that
No,
anymore.
they don't.
They don't.
The 1985 St. Louis Cardinals, they stole 314 bases, as you know. They were caught 96 times, so basically 3 out of 4. 75%. So they tried to steal bases 410 times. That's amazing. That's great.
I'm sorry, no one has ever made a big enough deal about the fact that the 85 Cardinals stole 314 bases. I don't care what anyone says. That should have been something I knew off the top of my head at 7 years old as a Cardinal fan, because that's freaking awesome.
They stole 4 in one play. That's great.
Come on, you're telling me if the Cardinals, if somebody finished a Cardinal career with 636 home runs, that wouldn't be kind of cool. Get out of here.
Yeah, but we've got all these guys that can run all this athleticism, but we're feared. We're feared that we're going to use up one of our 27 outs. We're feared. Blasphemy.
Hey, look, they
Fear is
just
a
needed a
real
little
thing,
time.
Randy.
Yeah.
They needed a full season to figure out how this lack of it, and how the bigger bases were going to play out.
Why did it not take Ronald Acuna that long to
I
figure
don't know.
it
He's
out?
almost got 70 stolen bases.
Himself.
he figured it out pretty quickly.
Didn't take the Reds long to figure it out. Didn't take the Rays long to figure it out.
I don't
The
know,
Rays
man.
are kind of analytical, aren't they? And they're second in Major League Baseball in stolen bases.
So you're saying that there's a place for actually that type of that type of game?
I would suggest if you're trying to win.
Ah,
Yeah, I would.
That makes sense, right?
I like your theory, though. I think they just needed a year to, figure out the rules, because I
An
think
entire
that
season.
it got to them late, because the World Baseball
That's
Classic.
what it
Yeah.
There you go.
There it was.
The leaders in stolen bases: Reds 175, Rays 157, Diamondbacks 156. So those are all 3 teams in the playoff hunt. And then let's go down to the Cardinals. Well, league average is 110. Cardinals are at 95. Vince Coleman had 110 in 1985. The Cardinals have 95
Ronald
right now.
Acuna has 67, I believe. Last I checked.
Brutal in the stolen base department. So the Rockies have 68.
That's not great.
No. Anyway, that's take it or leave it. Thanks for your text. We do appreciate it.
How about that?
Coming up, we've got our fresh take for you. St. Louis City back in action tomorrow. A quick turnaround. Can they get closer to clinching that Western Conference? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey guys, at some point we are all going to deal with low T, low testosterone. It affects every guy past the age of 30, and you'll deal with it by facing low energy and low motivation. You'll feel fatigued, maybe tired all the time, and you'll be a little bit more moody than you were, maybe a little bit more irritable, but you don't have to be that way. You can go to Mentality and solve low T by getting your testosterone level restored with Mentality's FDA-approved testosterone treatment. Their board-certified physicians are going to do a complete panel on your blood work, find out where your testosterone level is, and then get it back to where it needs to be. And at Mentality, they're going to work with your insurance company to make sure that you have the lowest out-of-pocket expense possible. It really is a great place. They have wonderful nurses, great doctors, and they can do so much for you. In addition to giving you your energy back, they can do things like check out the rest of your health status. There was one guy that we know that went to Low T USA, went to Mentality, and found out that he had early stage prostate cancer, got it taken care of, and he's doing great. It's Mentality, Chesterfield and South County locations. Learn more at lowtusa.com.
On the day's top stories, it's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
Brought to you by Schnucks Rewards. Reward yourself. Earn 2% back on every purchase with the Schnucks Rewards app.
All right, St. Louis City SC is back in action tomorrow after their Wednesday draw with LAFC. They're going to take on Minnesota United FC tomorrow. MUFC, Moofs, slipped up on Wednesday to help City clinch after letting LA Galaxy come back to win 4-3. But before that game, Minnesota United FC had not lost a league game since the restart. Now, should they, let's just try to get this clarified here. Should they not be either Minnesota United or Minnesota FC? Do they need to be Minnesota United FC? I mean, that is redundant, is it not?
It feels a little bit. It feels like it's just too many things at once.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
It also happens to be the initials of the most famous football club on the planet.
Really?
Manchester United FC. So it's like,
so they're just trying to copy that, huh?
What do you, like, did you do that? Like, you're telling me you didn't do that on purpose?
If you just type it in, what comes up? You don't. You know
I bet it's Manchester United.
Ooh, I want to know.
Maybe.
And so it's just like, what are you doing?
A few hits as well.
I don't like it.
If I type in,
surprise.
No, Manchester comes up. Yeah, that comes up first.
It's the first thing.
It's the very first thing that comes up.
I don't think Minnesota United comes up in any way.
So Minnesota United is going to be highly motivated. They're a point out of the 9th seed wild card, so they're going to be clawing for every point that they can get. And obviously, St. Louis City SC, preeminent team in the Western Conference of Major League Soccer, they need 2 wins, with one of those wins being against Seattle. So you might as well get the points now, and they need those wins, by the way, the one against Seattle, to clinch the top seed in the Western Conference. They're eminently capable, although St. Louis City SC has been a much more effective home team than a road squad.
They have been, and that's what's been really kind of intriguing to see, especially when you're getting closer to playoffs here. You really want to see, and I know that you say this for all sports, right? You want to see the team kind of firing on all cylinders going into the playoffs, and I think that that's why you would like to at least see City SC pick up a win. Now, what they did against LAFC, that was a huge game, and it was great to at least come away with the draw. You would have liked the win, points-wise, of course, but also getting that draw was important because of, if you looked at the difference in play with LAFC, it felt like they really kind of respected City SC coming to their house. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of where you see the teams come in and they're playing to City SC more, where it's almost like they have to. It's like they're taking off their shoes at the front door and they're saying, "All right, this is you guys are kind of dictating how the game goes here at home at City Park Stadium," and that has a lot to do with the fan atmosphere. Even there were some LAFC players that mentioned it felt like a playoff atmosphere the other day, and so being able to play at home is a huge advantage for them. Obviously, just would like to see them kind of continue that momentum on the road.
That's been City's MO all season, though. Just really applying pressure on teams, making sure that that they are well trained, in shape, ready to go a full 90 plus, whatever it needs to be, and they are going to attack you the entire time. I think for City, just having Klaus back and having Adeniran back, I think that's going to be really good for them in being able to attack teams and continue to apply that pressure. Roman Berkey has done outstanding. We talked about it yesterday. He's going to continue to do an outstanding job. So I think that they'll get this win and clinch that number one seed.
And with Klaus back, they should be able to get some more balanced scoring. With everybody that stepped forward in the absence of Klaus, you would hope that depth will step to the fore, and against a side like Minnesota FC, Minnesota United FC. I'm with you, Matthew.
It's the dumbest thing in the world.
It is.
Absolutely right.
Hopefully they'll get 3 goals from 3 different people. Do we have lightning out there?
Yeah,
or
we
something?
have lights flickering.
Oh, lights flickering in our room.
Lights flickering.
If you're watching, on the YouTube channel, everybody is alarmed in the room. So
it stopped. It was.
I also think a big thing to look at is because the last time you faced off against this team, you lost 1-0, and that was back in April. And just the change in the turnover in the lineup has really been incredible. Adeniran came off the bench for a little spell. AZ Jackson only played 13 minutes. The back four is now very different. Hebert and Nelson both got starts there. That's probably not going to be the case on Saturday. And Vasilev, Shroud, and Ostrak all started. Those are usually one of those 3 will start now, and the other 2 will be subs off the bench at crucial times. So the fact that you've completely turned over half of the roster in a lot of ways, and you've gotten better at almost every single one of those spots and deeper at every single one of those spots, I think there's a very good chance this is a very different game than it was early in the season when it was 1-0.
That's one of the things, I didn't mean to cut you off, that's one of the things that happens when guys get injured, other guys get more opportunities, and when those good guys get back healthy, now you got more depth on your bench because people have had the experience of playing, and they won't be afraid of those moments because they've already been in them.
Yeah, and it was Minnesota, as you mentioned there. It was Minnesota that knocked City SC out of that historic start at the very beginning. So there's a lot to play for here for many reasons. One, revenge for that. 2, because of the points and just being able to kind of build more of that momentum going in the playoffs. And another player, you brought up AZ Jackson. That'll be interesting to watch because he was also a part of Minnesota's MLS Next Pro team. So that was a big part of him and him getting to this point too.
Looking forward to it tomorrow, 7:30, and you'll see that one on Apple TV+. Coming up, it's our first visit of the season with the great Joey Vitale. He's our guy. And he's next on 101 ESPN.
All right.
Brooke Grimsley, Carrie Davis, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN. The Blues has started training camp, and that means we get to return to our Friday visits with Joe Vitale, who is our favorite guest, and he's with us on the celebrity line right now. Joey V, first of all, missed you during the summer, my man. How you doing?
Randy, good morning, buddy. I'm doing great. I really am. It's been an awesome summer, a long summer, one of the longest off seasons in the books. Certainly could have been a little bit longer, but all in all, it's been really great. It's great to be back at the rink and see the players back returning for camp.
The highlight of Joe Vitale's summer was?
Whoa! I tell you what, we went on a Disney cruise, which I finally went for. We obviously are big Disney people. We go twice a year to Disney World. And my parents offered to get everyone together to go on a Disney cruise, and I jumped for it. And I tell you what, guys, it was awesome. It was tight. It was cramped. Don't get me wrong. I mean, 7 people in 2 very small staterooms side by side was no joke. I think my marriage was definitely tested to the limit. You know, I don't know if my wife and I have fully recovered. This cruise was back in July. I mean, don't get me wrong. This was like 2 months ago. So, you know, I'd like to think that, you know, after a week things will settle down. But let's just say I think she's really ready for me to hit the road and be back calling radio games.
That's amazing. Well, of course, I have to ask you first before we get into Blues training camp, because that's also important. But this is an important question. Your favorite Disney character and why?
Wow, it's a really great question.
We're hitting you hard this morning with these questions.
I know. I mean, there's so many of them. My kid asked me this the other day. I've always been a fan of Woody. I've loved Woody from Toy Story. I just think that, he just has this wonderful, just beautiful harmony to his existence. I think there's this wonderful balance of his humor, but I think he always tried to do the right thing. I relate a lot to Woody. Because here I am as a dad and a husband. I'm trying to do the right thing. Like, you know, Woody was trying to get all the toys off in the right area, but then he screwed up by putting some of them in the trash bag, and then half of them ended up in the trash, and then he had to kind of reverse that. But his intentions were good. He wanted to keep everyone together, and he wanted to be Andy's toys, right? His heart was in the right spot. I feel like my heart is in the right spot, but I tend to screw things up at every corner. And that's why I just ask for a little bit of grace from my wife and my kids, because that's all I can hope for at the end of the day. So Woody, I think Woody's my guy right now.
All right, Joey, I know we're going to talk hockey, but you're a bread connoisseur. We never really talk hockey when we have you on. So I know you're a bread connoisseur. I was listening to Michelle this morning on Evan Canty and Michelle, and they were talking about bread, the best bread choice for toast in the morning. I think it's sourdough bread. A couple of them said rye. What's your choice?
Well, Carrie, that's why you're my guy, and you always will be my guy. It's sourdough.
No
100%. There's no question. Listen, there's no question when you're talking about toast, and sourdough really is. It's going to hit you in different spots. So you look at the mouth, you look at the way our palate has been designed. We have obviously there's the sweet on the tip of the tongue, and then there's the salty, and then there's the savory, and then of course at the very back of your tongue there are all the sour notes. That's where all the sour sensors basically click in. So when you take a bite of sourdough, you're kind of hitting that back jaw of your mouth, and that's what helps you salivate. And then when you're talking about toast, you're thinking of something creamy like butter, and then you throw jelly on it. So then you have the sweet sensation. So, you know, you put it on a piece of plain white bread, you're just going to get sweet. But that's where the sourdough really is that perfect umami bite, because you got the sour and the sweet balance. So to me, sourdough all the way. I was actually talking to Mackenzie McEachran. Blues just re-signed him again this offseason. He told me yesterday, I was sitting down in the locker with him, and Randy, if you're ever around the rink, or Brooke, you too, talk to him about it. He is a bread enthusiast now. Him and his newly married wife this summer, they bake bread, sourdough bread, like every day. He's telling me all about his starter. I mean, I could have talked to this guy for like 45 minutes about bread. And so it's great to see some of the hockey players coming around to it as well. But to answer your question in a long version, Carrie, it would be sourdough 100% all the way.
Okay, we got to do this one more time. Because you make the best sourdough. And by the way, I would love during the season to get a loaf of Joey Vitale's sourdough bread. But aside from the sourdough that you bake, what's the best sourdough in St. Louis? What bakery has the best sourdough in St. Louis?
Well, you know, I think there's 2 things I would say. I mean, if you're kind of old school and, you know, you love just that old, just traditional, the bread that brings you back to your childhood, I would personally go to Vitale's Bakery down on the hill. I mean, I'm a little biased here, but distant cousins, I think they have a great Italian loaf with sesame seeds. Again, you're going to cut it open. It's going to be one and done in probably a day, because it's not going to last on the shelf very long. But it's just that old school Italian bread that is perfect with any meal. That's number one. Number two, if you're looking for something more artisanal, I would say. Union Loafers does a fantastic job. They're in Botanical Heights. Ted, local guy. He obviously grew up here in St. Louis, and he started Union Loafers. I think that's the best sourdough bread for purchase around. But you know what? I tell you what, the other thing too, Randy, I mean, I feel like everyone's kind of gotten into this and kind of gotten this bug since COVID. You would not be surprised. Start asking some of your friends, talk about it, bring it up, and I guarantee you someone they know or someone that they know knows does bake sourdough bread out of their house and just gives it away or sells it to people, because it's kind of becoming that thing where everyone's kind of doing it. So I would not shock me one bit if one of your close friends actually bakes sourdough bread. And I always tell people, too, get some sourdough starter from a buddy and try it out, because the best bread you're going to eat in St. Louis is going to be in the same place, and it's going to be in your own home. So give it a shot, give it a whirl, find some good flour. And it's hard to mess up. It really is.
We still have to work one of those deals. We haven't done it in a long time, one of those sourdough for carrot cake deals.
Yeah, we got to. Oh man, I tell you what, that carrot cake. I've been thinking about that carrot cake. I would say a weekly basis. It comes across my mind. You know, my wife will be talking to me about the kids' schedule, and I kind of go into this days. And she's like, "Are you even listening to me?" 90% of the time, I'm thinking about your carrot cake. I just got it.
Is that what caused all the tension with the Disney cruise? You were just zoning out thinking about Randy's carrot cake.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it kind of is what it is. You know, I'm starting to realize that marriage. You know, someone told me this the other day. Marriage is like. Your wife is like, or your husband is like a big oak tree that is planted right in your living room. You know, I thought about that for a while. I didn't really know what he meant by that. But I think the essence of that story is it's this big tree. You can't really avoid it. It's right there. You certainly can't chop it down because then the whole house comes down. So you have to figure out a way to coexist with it. So I think that's the best marriage advice I have for people.
Joey V, I was out at the rink yesterday, and I love the confidence of this team. And this is a team that still has a lot of good players, and everybody around the Blues seems to believe that they're a playoff team, which I love to hear. And I know everybody this time of year thinks they're a playoff team, but some teams really aren't. I look at this Blues team, and I think there are enough players there for them to be a playoff team, and I'm happy with their confidence. What read are you getting?
You know, I think if you look at just to talk about the Central Division for a second, you know, and I talked to Doug Armstrong about this a week ago. He had a nice little round table with the broadcasters. It was really, really insightful. You know, I think I agree with him when he says this. You look at this division, U3, and it's Colorado and, to me, Dallas. And I think I agree with that. Colorado and Dallas, they're going to be your hard hitters in this division. Those are the ones coming in with the most expectations, and they're going to be very good. We all know that. And then you have the rest. Let's call them the rest. And the Blues are in the rest. And you look at how each of the rest of the teams, whether it be the Winnipegs, I mean, Arizona's an interesting team. They signed a lot of one-year deals. Maybe some chemistry clicks there, you know. And then you look at the St. Louis Blues. They do believe that they're going to be contenders to the very end, and I think they are right. And I think the reason why is because you look at how this game has changed so much. One thing has not changed. If you can work and you can hit and you can smash, you're going to win games. And I think that this team makeup really is that. I tell you one thing about this Blues team. We may be lacking in some veterans. We may be lacking in some overly skilled players. You know, I know that, but I will say this. This team, talking to these guys and talking to Doug Armstrong, this team is going to smash you. I mean, they are going to hit you, and they're going to drive through you. I think we have a very great group in the sense that I think it's a young group, but now we have a couple of really good veterans that are going to kind of lead that way. Look at this bottom 6-4 we have, this forward group. I mean, Kevin Hayes, Toropchenko, you got Oscar Sundquist, Sammy Blais. I mean, these guys are huge. We may have the biggest, heaviest bottom 6 in the National Hockey League. I do believe that. And what comes with that is they're going to play hard-hitting hockey. And I think when you play hard-hitting hockey, you look at the teams win the Stanley Cup every year. Look at Vegas, for example, last year. They're just a smash team. They're going to smash you. They're going to hit you. They're going to put you right through the wall. That was what's great about the 2019 St. Louis Blues team, was that they were not afraid to smash you. So I do love the makeup of this team in the sense that I do think they're going to get down to their roots and they're going to realize what it takes to win. They got the coach that's going to give the right message. And I truly, truly believe now they have the right leadership core intact that is going to get that message from the coach, pass it on to the players. You know, last year, there's no disrespect to the leadership group we had, but, you know, Ryan O'Reilly was a UFA. Tarasenko was a UFA. There was a lot of noise around that. There was a lot of kind of drama built around that. It just, this group could not get their bearings. I love the fact that Braden Schen's the captain. You bring in Kevin Hayes, wonderful personality. You got Justin Falk, Robert Thomas. I mean, these guys now this is the group. This is the group moving forward. They know what it's going to take for this group particularly to win, and it's going to be that smash style, and I do think they have the makeup to do it.
What about the defensive unit? Do you think that there's been enough changes? I know that you have a new defensive coach coming in, but do you think there's going to be enough changes is, because with last season, that was a huge wake-up call for that unit, right?
I do. I think that this year is going to be different from a coaching standpoint. Brooke, you bring up a great point right there. You know, one thing about Mike Van Ryn, you know, to me, he's always struck me as a head coach. Whenever I talk to him, I watch his mannerisms on the bench. I talk to some players about him. I think he's just got the makeup of a head coach. Of course, he had some tremendous success when he was in the Arizona farm team in the American Hockey League, and then he transitioned to the NHL for the assistant role. Now, of course, he's going to be an assistant in Toronto. But I think that he's always had the personality of a head coach. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of times with an assistant coach, you kind of need a buddy. The players kind of need a buddy. They kind of need someone just to bounce ideas off of, or maybe after getting yelled at by Craig Berube, they needed an assistant coach to come over and kind of give them a hug. And I think that Mike Van Ryn, just by his nature, he would almost mimic at Craig Berube at times. And I think that it got a little bit tough for these players to handle at times, because they're getting it from Chief, and now they're getting it from Mike Van Ryn, and they're going to get it from the press, they're going to get it from the teammates. So there wasn't a lot of relief. You bring Mike Weber in. I had a few short conversations with him. His reputation speaks for himself. Everyone you talk to absolutely adores this guy. Steve Ott, of course, longtime friends. They go back 20, 25 years, and he talks so much about him as well. I think he's going to be more of a Steve Ott presence on the backside, where when these players are coming off the ice, they're going to get maybe more of a hug at times. Now, why is that important for this particular group? Because we got a lot of veterans. Look at the amount of games for Colton Parayko, Justin Falk, Torrey Krug, Nick Leddy. I mean, Robert Bortuzzo. I mean, we're talking 600, 700, 800 games between all these guys individually. So you have so many veteran guys. I think that now you have the coach that's in place for a veteran group. Mike Van Ryn, again, I think he strikes me more as either a head coach or an assistant for a young team that need a lot of coaching. I don't know if this veteran group for the Blues need a ton of coaching. They just more or less need a presence on the bench that's going to kind of give them a pickup, because these guys know how to handle themselves. They can police themselves. They can motivate themselves. They know what their job is going to be. So I think that in itself, the coaching change, is going to help this veteran group on the backside tremendously.
Joey V, it's great to hear your voice. Looking forward to the first broadcast already tomorrow with the Arizona Coyotes in town. Pregame at noon here on 101 ESPN, and let's have a great season.
Sounds great, Randy. Thanks for your time this morning. Brooke, Carey, you as well. You guys doing a great job, and looking forward to the entire season with you all.
You bet. Thank you, sir. Take care. That is Joe Vitale, a Blues analyst here on 101 ESPN, and one of my favorite people, one of the most curious people that I've ever met, and he's so much fun.
You can ask him literally anything, and he will have a great story to come with it and give you the answer. It'll just take a little bit, but it's like the best story that you've ever listened to.
Fantastic. And now I learned about why sourdough bread is good. It's the back of your tongue.
Yes.
Now you know via radio. Coming up, Matthew, do you need a fighter?
Always.
We do need a fighter. So you can text into 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Your name and the word fight to that number. Text in, and perhaps Matthew will pick you as our next fighter here on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals yesterday fall to the Brewers 6-0. They dropped that series 3-1. They're back in action tonight, starting a 3-game series against the San Diego Padres. It's an 8:40 first pitch for Game 1 of that series. St. Louis City SC back in action on Saturday evening. They face off against Minnesota United FC. Minnesota United beat them earlier in the season 1-0 at City Park to end their 5-game winning streak to start the season. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Patrick. Patrick, how you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing better now. We're learning some things in the studio, and Rocc is teaching us some things, and he made a statement that his opinion is the only one that matters. And so
that's not what I meant.
I just almost spat out my food.
I meant your own personal thoughts on that subject are all that matter. That's all. That's what I was saying.
What you said was, it's my opinion, and that's all that matters. And so,
on that subject, your personal opinion is the only thing that matters. That's all I was saying.
Okay, that's what we're gonna go with. That's fine. But
my eggs just almost flew across the room. I was taking a bite at that exact moment.
That's intriguing. All right, Patrick, you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Last night, Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown in his 12th straight game. Which running back holds the Super Bowl era record with 18 consecutive games with a rushing or receiving touchdown? Is it Priest Holmes, Barry Sanders, or LaDainian Tomlinson?
That's a good one. I'm a big Priest Holmes fan. Let's go with LaDainian Tomlinson.
You get there. Oh, I thought you were going to. Okay. Finalist. Let's go, bro.
Final answer. All right. Our next guest, Will Franklin, was a part of the 07 Tiger squad that reached #1 in the nation with an 11-1 record going into the Big 12 championship game. Who was the one conference opponent that they lost to that year? Was it Oklahoma, Texas, or Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma.
Which Power 5
answer.
Thank you. Which Power 5 conference is the only one with 8 different undefeated 3-0 teams? Is it the ACC, the Pac-12, or the SEC?
The SEC.
Final question. Happy birthday to Vince Coleman. After sealing at least 60-plus in all 6 of his seasons as a Cardinal, Coleman would reach 50 stolen bags just one more time in his career. Which franchise did he do it with? Was it the Mets, the Royals, or the Mariners?
The Mets. Final.
All right, Patrick, we'll double-check that score, and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Patrick, how you feel?
All right. Not great.
Not great. Okay. Wow.
It is definitely different when you're just sitting there with the radio.
Yes.
We hear that often. You're enthused though, so that has to count for something.
A little bit.
Yeah, you were ready to go. It's a Friday. I think it's Friday, right? Yeah, it's Friday.
Yes, it is Friday. Getting ready to get tires putting on my truck.
There you go.
Oh, nice. Dance with us, Patrick. Weekend. I assume you're dancing too, like us.
Of course.
Yes, I was.
All right, Randy, you say hello to Patrick.
Patrick, good morning. How you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Everything's terrific. Thank you very much for listening and checking in and playing. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
By the way, if you're watching on the YouTube, Carrie had a reaction to a blinking light and had a bad headache, so that's why the lights are off in the room.
Flashing lights and me, I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Bad combo, huh?
Yeah. Don't wish that on anyone. So I appreciate you guys.
No, I'm actually pulling up to R&R right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to wish it on one guy.
Stanley.
Yeah. You know me so well.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Really?
Last night, Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown in his 12th straight game. Which running back holds the Super Bowl era record with 18 consecutive games with a rushing or receiving touchdown?
First one that came to mind, because I had him on a fantasy team, was Emmitt Smith. He scored a lot of touchdowns. You would think that with a 31 touchdown campaign that LaDainian Tomlinson had a touchdown in every single game that he played one year. Because of that math, I'm going to go with LT, the offensive LT, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Make sure we...
Our next guest, Will Franklin, was a part of the 07 Tiger squad that reached #1 in the nation with an 11-1 record going into the Big 12 championship game. Who was the one conference opponent they lost to that year?
Pig Brown dropping an interception in the end zone right into his breadbasket against Oklahoma. Frustrating. That changed the momentum of the game. I think Mizzou could have won that regular season game if Pig Brown makes that interception, but he did not. And Sam Bradford and Oklahoma wound up winning.
Who was injured for the championship game? Pig Brown.
Yep. And they allowed like 62 or something, right, in the championship game. It was not great. No fault of Will Franklin's.
Yeah. Which Power 5 conference is the only one with 8 different undefeated 3-0 teams?
Right now?
Yep.
This is going to sound weird, but I'm going to go with the Pac-12. Washington State, Oregon State, Washington, Colorado, USC. That's 5 right there. I think UCLA's undefeated. I can't imagine that the Arizona teams are undefeated, but I'll go with those right there over the SEC. Yeah, it just makes sense. I'll go with the Pac-12.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that conference go on moving forward.
That'll be
Anyway,
so fun. Yeah, the Pac-12.
Uncalled for shot at the Pac-12. They haven't done anything for anyone. They're trying.
Whoopsie daisy. Anyways, final question. Happy birthday to Vince Coleman. After stealing at least 60+ in all 6 of his seasons as a Cardinal, Coleman would reach 50 stolen bags just one more time in his career. Which franchise did he do it with?
I'm going to say it was with the Seattle Mariners. I don't think he did it with the Mets. So, although there were some fireworks in New York, but I'm going to go with the Seattle Mariners.
All right, this was an extremely close fight, but no tiebreaker needed. We do have a winner. Randy Carricker, it was a short week, but this is your chance to go undefeated this week. Or Patrick comes in here and does our favorite thing, which is sends us all into the weekend with a win for the caller. So, is Randy excited or are the rest of us in a good mood here with a caller victory? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just
What's the drum?
no. Damn. All right, Randy's happy. I'm happy. Carrie, wipe that smirk off your face.
Ooh.
Okay, that's fine. We're closing in on the end. Okay, there we go. That'll make everybody happy going into the weekend. There we go. Good.
You didn't even play that yesterday when it was literally the...
Well, because I was doing it for you people. Okay. I wasn't doing this, by the way, Patrick. I was doing it for you people that root against me every damn day.
Oh!
And all I do is win, no matter what.
It's Carrie Davis he's talking
I actually enjoy when it's a fight, when there's a challenge and you have to bring out your best. And if you happen to lose on that day and you're steaming mad, I may or may not be happy about it. I don't know. If there's a question that is up for debate, I may or may not be thrilled by that. I don't know.
You like the drama. You like the drama.
I like
theatrics.
the word thrilled is the perfect word there. Patrick, I'm sorry you had to sit through all that because you did unfortunately fall to Randy Carricker 3-2 today.
Dang. Well, hey, it was a good shot. I tried my best, and hey, I hope y'all have a great Friday.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that,
You too, Patrick.
It was a good fight today. Last night, Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown in his 12th straight game. The running back who holds the Super Bowl era record with 18 consecutive games is in fact LaDainian Tomlinson, but it's not the 18 games you'd think so, because he had actually had 3 different games in his record-setting 2006 campaign where he didn't score a single touchdown. Wow. It was actually across the 04 to 05 seasons when LaDainian Tomlinson put together those 18 consecutive. Not a single game in 06 counts in that 18 consecutive. Our next guest, Will Franklin, part of the 07 Tiger squad that reached number 1 in the nation. They did, in fact, only lose to Oklahoma that year. It was, unfortunately, twice, though, once in the regular season and then in the Big 12 championship game. And which Power 5 conference is the only one with 8 different undefeated teams? It's the only the conference that's going to dominate college football for the next 25 years. It is, in fact, the Pac-12, USC, Colorado, Oregon, Oregon State, UCLA, Utah, Washington, and Washington State, all sitting at 3-0. A couple of those are going to end this weekend. Happy birthday to Vince Coleman. After stealing at least 60 in all 6 of his seasons as a Cardinal, he would steal 50 just one more time and was exactly 50 with the Royals in 1994 for Vince Coleman. So a 3-2 win for Randy Carricker in the fight today. Again, thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show, Patrick.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
You too, Patrick. Thank you. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, speaking of Will Franklin, he will join us, the former Mizzou wide receiver, getting ready for tomorrow's Mizzou-Memphis game at the Dome. And Will joins us next in the opening drive on 101 ESPN. There's nothing like the hassle of having a refrigerator go out or a dishwasher go out or a clothes washer. Did you know that Hoffman Brothers not only does appliance repairs, but they now do appliance installation as well? That's right. Refrigerators, microwaves, washers, dryers, ovens, stoves, and more. If you have a problem with your dishwasher, the handle falls off, get in touch with Hoffman Brothers. They'll come out, they'll try to repair it, and most times they will. But if they can't repair it, they're going to be able to replace it most times the next day. Give Hoffman Brothers a call for your appliance repair and installation. The number 314-664-3011, 664-3011, or you can find them on the web at HoffmanBros.com. You should also be a part of the Hoffman Brothers Protection Plan for just $34 a month. You can have easy access to Hoffman Brothers, whether it's getting your heating and cooling system repaired, or maybe it is getting something taken care of with an appliance. Hoffman Brothers, 314-664-3011, on the web at HoffmanBros.com. Hoffman Brothers, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. And Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis, I'm Randy Carricker, and Mizzou plays Memphis tomorrow at the Dome, 6:30. Still tickets available, and it's going to be a great atmosphere, a lot of fun. You can get tickets at Ticketmaster or at MUTigers.com. Joining us now on the celebrity line is former Mizzou wide receiver Will Franklin. I say former Mizzou wide receiver Will, but once a Tiger, always a Tiger, right?
Always a Tiger. How you doing this morning?
Everything's great. Great to have you with us, and you got a chance to play some big games for Mizzou. It's fun to have them back in the conversation in regards to playing big games, isn't it?
Oh, man, that's the best feeling in the world, knowing that your fellow Tigers are out there playing in some big games in the big stages, and two, just doing it right here at home in St. Louis.
Well, of course, I have to ask you about East St. Louis native Luther Burden. A big question for him going into the season is, would he be able to take that next step? And I think so far he's answered that through 3 games, 324 yards on 22 receptions with 3 touchdowns. What have you seen difference-wise from him this season so far?
The maturity level, being able to take on the things as a freshman with the hype that came in with him and understand the expectations of what it means to be a high-level recruit and go in and play in the SEC at the level that's needed. This year, I see a real maturity jump on his play. Coach Drink and his staff has done a wonderful job with helping him grow in a short period of time with all the pressure that's put on him. And those are the things that we're seeing now, man. You're seeing a kid go out there and perform a high level, and I think it's only the beginning of what he can accomplish this year.
Well, when you're looking at this Mizzou roster, you got obviously a lot of guys from St. Louis. How important is it for Drink to continue to lock in the border and make sure that they're getting those kids from both sides, the east side and the west side of the state, making sure that they stay in-house and come down to Columbia?
Oh, man, when you have both sides of the state locked in the way you did, you'll look back and you'll have a roster full of kids like we had in 2007, and you got kids from Kansas City, from Tony Temple, Morgan Rucker, Chase Kaufman, then myself, Jeremy Macklin, you know what I mean, from St. Louis. It brings the state right there into the middle of the state, into Columbia, and you pack the house every weekend, and friends and family feel very comfortable making that hour-and-a-half drive there, and the excitement just stays there because you're looking at local products. And, for me, it's a dream come true where you can, play in St. Louis the way these guys are playing this weekend. And Drink is doing a hell of a job right now. And I think, if he can continue to do what he's doing this year with this season, he will get a lot more kids from both sides of the state.
Former Mizzou wide receiver Will Franklin with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Will, take us back to your opportunity to play here in St. Louis. What was that like?
Oh, man, dream come true. Like I said, it was a dream come true. Being able to come out that tunnel, man, I watched the Rams for so many years when they were here in St. Louis come out, and I wanted to mimic Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, and, we got the chance to get out there. That's one thing me and J-Mac was talking about outside of the hassle of tickets leading into those games. Just, going out there and trying to do what your idols were doing on this same turf inside that same dome, and we were able to accomplish that. J-Mac fortunately had 2 years of it. I had 1, but both times I know for him was a wonderful experience. For me, it was something that I'll never forget.
Also, what are your biggest keys to the game going into this game against Memphis? Because Memphis is not a cupcake whatsoever. They're also 3-0 coming into this, a very tough challenge for Mizzou. What are your biggest keys to the game for Mizzou this weekend?
Getting our defense back in rhythm. We have a very, very talented defense, and I think if we can get out there and establish ourselves and offense pick up where we were last week, we'll be fine. But getting that defense back into the defensive front that we're used to having and playing balls to the walls on defense makes the offense go out there and want to be excited to play because defense will give you time and give you more possessions. So if we can get the defense out there playing well and the offense pick up where we left off last weekend, I think we're going to do very well.
Well, did you see that text I sent you this morning?
No, I didn't.
You did not? Okay, well, check your text messages because it's starting in 2024. The Hazelwood Central Hawks will be taking on the Vashon Wolverines for a back-to-back home and away. And I just wanted to send that to you. I know you are a proud Vashon alum. Vashon I love and all that. I get it. I know. That's what it is. But I just wanted to send that to you. It ain't going to go how the Illinois-Mizzou battle went. I just want to put that out there.
Hey, we don't know, man. There's a lot of talented kids around this area, man. And both Vashon and Hazelwood Central. Carey is doing a hell of a job out there. And Coach Joe Anderson, the new head coach of Vashon, I'm sure he's going to have those boys ready to play next year and the years to come.
And, Will, our computer is our internet's slow here. I'm trying to look up how Mizzou did against Illinois at the Dome. I don't.
Randy, you don't have to look that up. You don't need to. You don't need to bring that into the conversation. We didn't win any. Mizzou won everything. We were so bad that we went tucked our tail and went on back to Champaign. We ain't played since. I know what took place. We were there. I was there. Will was there. He knows. Will, you can go on to the next question, brother. Don't worry about that. Randy starting stuff over here. That was a good matchup, though. I like this, what Will said. We had, being from St. Louis, to be able to come home, play Mizzou in that game, it was thrilling. You have all of your fans, your friends and family there. It is a hassle getting a lot of tickets and trying to get as many as you can without a lot of money in college. So you got to figure that out. But to be able to come home and play that game, I'm sure those kids at Mizzou are excited that are from here, from this area, to be able to have their family that may not be able to make that hour-and-a-half drive, that may not have the finances, can come, 15, 20 minutes away and really sit down and watch their family member participate in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, that tickle has to be something different, man. Some of the guys on the roster right now, and I think it was like Tuesday, they were just like, I don't have 100 tickets, and 100 people asked for a ticket. I was like, I understand.
Good luck.
Hey, Will, tell us what you're doing now. You've got a fun business. Tell us what's going on with your business world right now.
Yes, in the business where I have actually with some fellow Tigers of mine. Two of my best friends are Tigers as well. We own a bar called Whiskey on Washington, downtown St. Louis. We are just now entering into our third year, so still building momentum and learning the business world of the bar business. And it's going pretty good, man. We're inspired to find a second location, and that location will provide food. This location is just a bar only. So we're looking to grow into it as we continue to learn more and more about the business.
That's awesome. And who are your partners?
David Shanks and Owner Britt.
I love it. Good. Well, we'll have to get there. And will you guys be open after the game tomorrow?
Yes, we'll be open before and after the game. We'll be open tomorrow from 12 to 2 for a happy hour for Tigers, both Memphis and Missouri Tigers. And then we're going to shut down to get to the tailgate area so we can go over there and entertain over in the tailgate. Then right after the game, the bar will be open.
Whiskey on Washington and Will Franklin, one of the proprietors. Will, it's great to have you with us. Thanks for taking the time today here on 101 ESPN, and good luck tomorrow for your Tigers.
Yeah, good luck to the Missouri Tigers.
Take care. See you later. That is former Mizzou and former Vashon wide receiver Will Franklin. He was one of those guys that you watched in high school, and Carey, you played with and against people like this, but he was just better than everybody else, and all you had to do was drop back and let it fly, and he was going to run under it and catch it for a touchdown.
Give him a chance. I mean, you when you have guys that are that special that can go up and get the ball, you just throw it in their direction, and you as a quarterback and as an offensive coordinator trust that they're going to come down with it. Will was a fantastic football player, spent time in the NFL. I mean, did a great job at Mizzou, did a great job at Vashon, and he was the head coach of Vashon for a little while. He just last year was his last year, but he did a fantastic job job with those kids as well, just teaching them how to play the game the right way and really help turn that football program around.
Coming up, the Cardinals are in San Diego to open their final road trip of the season. They lost yesterday to the Brewers 6-0, and Miles Michaelis has spawned some concern in this room. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Carey with more about Window Nation and more from Window Nation. When it comes to new windows, Window Nation is always giving you more, but now they're giving you even more. The more windows you buy, the more you save, up to 50% off plus a whole lot more. Pay nothing for 2 full years. It's an amazing deal on the windows that deliver more for your home, more energy savings, more value, more features, more options, and more beauty. Call 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com. Weather impacts your windows, but with hot days and cold days, it can cause caulk to crack, seal failures, and condensation. Window Nation only uses the top-of-the-line materials, including mold spray and Quad Max sealant, some of the toughest against all weather conditions. All Window Nation does is windows. They are experts, installed nearly 200,000 windows just last year with a 96% satisfaction rate, making them one of the top companies in the country. You need to call them now if you need new windows. 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It is 9:03 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Carrie Davis, Randy Carricker, Matthew Rocchio, and it's great to have you with us. By the way, we're back on YouTube. We got kicked off YouTube. We sent to them Mike Ryder sent them a Twitter message. They responded. They said, "Oh, our bad, our mistake," and they put us back on like within an hour and a half or something like that.
The Midwest.
Yep. All we had to do was tweet them.
Yeah.
As it turns out.
No rhyme or reason for why we were off.
No, still don't know. We were
for 10 days
impersonating somebody.
Not a great message. Not a great message to send to people, by the way. Like, oh yeah, if you have a problem, just angry tweet us. That's the best, most efficient way to get things done in this world. Just angry tweet us.
And we went through proper channels.
Been in America?
I thought we were better than this.
We went through proper channels. Yeah, we filed an appeal. Appeal rejected, and then we said, well, our appeal was rejected. We'll just go to Twitter, and we did, and it worked.
That's where you go to solve all of your life problems, right?
Well, I wish the Cardinals could do that. Your St. Louis Cardinals have 67 wins and 86 losses, and they just can't go to Twitter and say, fix it, because there's not somebody out there to fix it, especially...
There's somebody out there that can fix it.
Yeah, but not on Twitter.
He's on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Good point. Good point.
That's debated.
So yesterday, Miles Michaelis was representative through 5 innings. As a matter of fact, through those 5 innings, he had 4 strikeouts.
Miles Michaelis on mound, trying to pick up victory number 8. Yeah, that's the plan, making his 33rd start of this season. The thing you love the most about Miles Michaelis, man, the guy takes the ball every 5th day. There's the strike. Monasterio is rung up. And the 1-2 pitch is cut on and missed. Well, Michaelis, a good job to get a swing and a miss. There's a good 2-strike result. Contreras flails away and is out number 2, 4th strikeout.
So 4 strikeouts, 2 runs allowed through 5 for Michaelis. He starts the 6th. Willie Adames with a double. Rowdy Tellez with a base hit. Monasterio with a base hit to score Adames. And then Caratini with a homer to drive in 3 more and make it 6-0. And it all unraveled in a big hurry for Miles Michaelis. And Brooke, you texted us. You said, should we be concerned about Miles Michaelis? And I think yes, to an extent. But I also think that Miles Michaelis probably feels the same way about this season that we feel. And it's probably more of I'm tired of this. And so he starts the 6th inning. Kind of looks like he's just lobbing the ball in there.
Yeah.
And allows the double and the hit and the home run. He just didn't look crisp once he got into the 6th inning. It was almost like, okay, I'm tired of this. I've done my job.
And I don't necessarily like that. I have several reasons why. One, his last 7 starts, he now has a 7.49 ERA during that span of the 7 starts. That doesn't give me a lot to be excited about. And I said this earlier, the reason that it is concerning to me is because who is a part of your starting rotation next season?
Miles Michaelis
and Steven Matz. Hopefully everything with his injury will be okay, but he's the one player that one pitcher is going to be a part of that starting rotation. And this is not a season where I want to see anybody loafing it, but especially here down the stretch when you have so many question marks and with John Mozeliak evaluating, kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle together of what he needs to go out and get starting pitching wise. If anything, what I've seen recently reinforces the fact that you can't just likely go out and get 3 starting pitchers. You need to go out and get 3 starting pitchers because I would like to believe Miles Michaelis when he said recently that, sometimes I have good years, I have bad years. This is a bad year. Bet on me for next year. I know he's joking around more with that, but what was the issue going into this season? There were so many question marks and hoping that guys would do certain things, and that didn't pan out. And so from an evaluation standpoint, I would like to see the starting pitchers, including Miles Michaelis. CD, you mentioned earlier, it's a competition.
Yeah.
To me, that competition is going on. It's going to continue on going into next season, but that's still continuing for the starting rotation just because of how disappointing they've been this season. And another reason why it's a little concerning to me is because when Adam Wainwright is gone, and he is a leader in that clubhouse of voice, especially with the pitching staff, Miles Michaelis is going to be the leader moving forward. He already has a good rapport with the guys, and I think that if you are not only going to lead with your words, you have to lead by example. And if you show that you're kind of taking, some games off or something like that, what does that message send to the rest of the pitching staff?
Well, I would say I think it's a bit concerning that he's only got 1 win in his last 12 outings. That to me is a bit concerning. We talked about, he's not looking like his normal self. We know he's going to eat up innings. We know he's going to do that part of the game plan. But if you are, I can't go with the notion that he's just packing it in because they are terrible this season. Because, again, as a competitor, anytime you're out playing the game, it's being filmed, people are watching, you never want to put bad things on tape. You are what you put on tape is what we used to say. And if this is your performance, no matter if you are down 10 in a game or if you're up 10 in a game or if you're 20 games back in the division, you still have an obligation to yourself and to your teammates to go out there and perform at your very best and not just say, we're losing anyways, I'm going to pack it in. No, you have to go out and perform. So to not show up in the manner in which he's been struggling lately, I think that's a bit troubling.
Yeah, I think, well, this is a question I have for both of you guys. Which one do you think is better or worse, kind of to your point, CD, that it's more of an attitude thing and he's just like, oh, the season's a wash anyways, or that there is something more going on there performance-wise?
It could be very easily that the innings are just catching up with him. He threw 202 innings last year, 202 and a third. He's thrown 187 and a third this year, not including the Baseball Classic, which were high leverage innings that he threw. And I know he only threw like 6 or 8 innings in the WBC, but they were high intensity innings. Perhaps the wear and tear of 2022 and 2023 is catching up with Miles Mikolas, because it looked to me, and I think he had 90 pitches. 89 pitches through 5. Gets to number 90 as he starts the 6th inning when things fell apart. Maybe that's his limitation at this stage of the season after all these innings.
90 pitches?
Yeah.
Right around that area. I mean, I hope we can get the the updated version of Miles Mikolas in 2024, the rejuvenated version of him. And if he is on 1 year, off 1 year, then 2024 should be his year. He should be good to go. But you have to, again, when you go into spring training, these guys have to be in competition for spots on this starting rotation, whether they're fighting for number 1 through 5 or if they're going to be in the bullpen. You have to create an environment where guys are competing for that spot. And I think this year, the offseason, spring training, it was just guys were known where they were going to be. It was kind of solidified. You knew Jack Flaherty was going to be one. You knew that Jordan Montgomery would be. You knew Miles Mikolas and Wainwright would be. And you thought that Steven Matz would be. And so you kind of went in, and then you believed that Dakota Hudson was your 6th starter. I don't know if there was ever a point where in spring training where you really gave guys a look and say, hey, wait a minute, this guy can really play. He can pitch. He can do some things for us. I think you have to have that environment going into 2024. Otherwise, we will be in the same situation next year.
I want to give you some amazing numbers here. These are the innings pitched leaders in the World Baseball Classic. Shohei Ohtani, injured. Lance Lynn, injured early. Horrible start to the season. Marcus Stroman, injured. Jose Urias was injured before he had his legal issues. Adam Wainwright, injured. Patrick Sandoval of the Angels, injured. Luis Garcia of the Astros, injured. Jose Urquidy of the Astros, injured. I'm trying to find the first pitcher, Yu Darvish, injured and shut down for the rest of the season. Kyle Freeland, I guess, of Colorado is the guy, the first guy that pops up, and he was number 17 in innings pitched in the WBC. That is a high-level major league pitcher that didn't suffer a debilitating injury this year.
I mean, maybe that does have... I mean, I do believe
would be the one that stands out.
And I do believe that the World Baseball Classic is something that you have to take into consideration for this season. But overall, there was a lot of other factors with the Cardinals that led to what we saw this season, other than some of those injuries.
Wilkie Rodriguez.
Yes. Yes, Wilkie Rodriguez and Tyler O'Neill. Don't forget about that. And then if Palante didn't go play for, Team Italy, then, I mean, it could have been so different.
Would have been a completely different. And we would be talking about the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. We're not.
No, we're not. So there's today's Fresh Take. Cardinals at San Diego tonight. You'll see the game with Chip Caray on Bally Sports. Chip is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. He and the broadcast crew were going to meet up with the Channel 4 News team last night to try to pick out some new suits. So we'll talk about that. What color suit Chip got?
Not this Channel 4, by the way.
No, the
just
San Diego
to clarify.
Channel 4 News team with Champ and Brick.
Oh, yes.
And Ron. Yeah. So we'll ask Ron. And I think, so Chip would equate to our version, like he's Ron, right? Chip and Ron, the question is, who is, of the Cardinal broadcasters, who's Brick?
No, you're not going to get us to say that. You're not going to get us to say that, Randy. I know what you're doing there.
I'm just asking a question. NFL news and notes coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, for this weekend, big news from Schnucks. You know, I'm always talking to you about how awesome Schnucks Rewards is. Well, this is the coolest news yet. Today and tomorrow, if you're a Schnucks Rewards member, you're going to earn twice the points on everything you buy at Schnucks. That's every Schnucks store, including Eat Well. It's the customer love event at Schnucks. Schnucks does love you as one of their customers, and it's the perfect time to do your big shop and to stock up. Now, Schnucks already offers great deals with double points on various items throughout the store. But for this weekend only, today and tomorrow, they're giving out double points on everything store-wide. So, aside from a couple of exclusions like gift cards, your whole shopping cart will earn you double the rewards points. No need to look for specific items that qualify. It's everything in the store. Boar's Head Deli Meat, get double the points off. Everything you need for those school lunches, why not earn double the points? Schnucks wants to say thank you for all of what you do for them, especially those Schnucks Rewards members out there. So get into Schnucks today and tomorrow to earn double the points on everything store-wide. How many points will you earn? You decide. Schnucks Rewards, reward yourself. It's amazing. Already week 3 of the NFL season underway with another impressive win for the 49ers last night. They played their first home game and took care of the New York Football Giants by a score of 30-12. And everything was clicking for the 49ers in all 3 phases. Their special teams are great. Their offense is electrifying, and they can do anything they want through the passing game or the running game. And their defense is fierce. They are, for me, the absolute class of the NFC.
I agree. I think the Dallas Cowboys are a really good team as well. They had an injury. I know we're going to talk about that in a minute. But just watching the 49ers, I don't see any holes in their team. They are fantastic in the skill positions at receiver, quarterback, receiver, running back, tight end. They have some of the elite players at that position. Defensively, they get after the quarterback. They make plays in the secondary. They are a really good, well-coached football team, and they do so. I think the thing that is hardest to really identify against the 49ers, they can line Deebo Samuel up in the backfield, put Christian McCaffrey in the slot. It changes what a defense is doing. They have to look at things differently because you're not going to put a slot receiver, a linebacker over in waiting on Deebo to run out of the backfield. You're going to leave. It just changes what you're doing. They put Christian McCaffrey in the slot, let him run a 5-yard out and got a first down. Well, who's guarding him? Who's checking him? A linebacker. Because now where do you put the safety at? Where do you put the nickel corner? It's so confusing when you have so many guys. That's what the Rams were elite at.
And that's Christian McCaffrey is the closest thing to Marshall Faulk since Marshall Faulk.
They were elite because they had all 5 eligible receivers. They could line up anywhere. And as a defense, you had to account for everyone and who you're going to double, because if you single cover one of those guys, they're going to make a play. It's so many things that they have offensively, so many weapons that they have. They are a tough team to get out on third down.
And let's not dismiss how good they are at scouting coaches, because they lost Robert Saleh. He was their defensive coordinator. Yep. He goes to run the Jets. They lose their defensive coordinator this year, DeMeco Ryans. Mm-hmm. He goes to the Houston Texans. Yet their defense, and I get Coach Stallings always used to say, got to have players making plays. You do, but you still have to coordinate those guys effectively, and they've continued to do that in San Francisco.
Yeah, they have been able to do that. Brock Purdy, I think, is just going to be such an interesting story to watch this season. It's like you were talking about, CD, so many playmakers around him, which I know that helps makes things easy, but there's not many quarterbacks that could handle that much pressure, and he kind of got off to a clunky start, as we saw in the first half. It wasn't Purdy. There you go. It wasn't Purdy in the first half, and there were some moments where you're like, ooh, that could have been an interception, but he has so many playmakers around him, but the way he's able to, it seems like, settle in and navigate things with ease after that, I think says a lot about Brock Purdy and his composure, and the fact that he's only making $870,000. I feel like that just flips that whole narrative that you see in the NFL of what you're able to find. I mean, he was Mr. Irrelevant, and now he's very relevant right now.
Steve Wilkes, the DC.
He'll get another head coaching job.
Yeah, he'll get another chance.
Yeah. Well, the other big story, and you alluded to it, CD, is Trayvon Diggs out with a torn ACL. That is the big story right now because the Cowboys' defense has been very stout to this point, and so there's concern about what that will look like without Diggs moving forward. How do you see that playing out? I think a lot of people are looking at Bland to possibly kind of take over in that role. I know that he had 5 interceptions, I think, in the slot last year. Does he move outside?
Well, like I said, I think if you are the slot corner, it's one of those positions where you're really good at that position. It is hard to be a slot corner because you're going up against a quick, shifty guy, a guy that is off the ball, so you can't jam them. They can go in or out because they're in the slot. They're not relegated to going inside, so you don't know where they're going. If you are a really good slot corner, I prefer to keep him there and figure out what we can do on the outside. And you got to understand, the other corner on the other side is not going to see many passes either. So they are a really, really good football team. The other corner being Stephon Gilmore, former Defensive Player of the Year. They are a good defense, not only because of what they do in the secondary, but what they do up front. They have been getting after the quarterback. Micah Parsons has been that guy who he's been in talks of maybe potentially being the MVP, not just let alone the defensive MVP so far this season. He is going to get after the quarterback, which which makes your life so much easier in the secondary when that quarterback is not throwing passes on time, when he has to move in the pocket, when he has to throw passes on the run and he's constantly under pressure. It makes your life a little easier in the secondary. So I don't know that I expect that much a drop off. Trayvon Diggs is a gambler. He takes risks, and so he gives up big plays. He gets a lot of picks, but he also gives up a lot of big plays as well. He got a fumble, forced fumble, because he gave up a big play a couple of weeks ago. So it's gonna happen, but the way that they get after the quarterback, I think they'll be fine in the secondary.
Yeah, I just think obviously losing Diggs is terrible. I mean, it's huge news for a reason, but they have so much depth, especially at that safety position too, where it feels like they should be fine. It just, I don't know. It felt like on social media, just seeing some of the Cowboy fans, it's like, oh, you see, something always happens. Always happens with the Cowboys.
Good for them.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Feel bad for him.
The Chiefs play the Bears this weekend. Matt Nagy, the former Bears head coach, back with Kansas City after getting whacked in Chicago. I'm intrigued by this game because Justin Fields made his points this week about how he felt like he was being used in a robotic fashion. I have a feeling that he's going to see things that Spags will put on the field, and Matt Nagy knows what Justin Fields' kryptonite will be. He coached him for a year. I wonder what kind of success, especially losing his left tackle, Justin Fields will have after the comments that he made this week.
It's this is frustrating and kind of strange for me, just seeing what you thought was going to be a maturation in his career last year, the step forward that he took with the ability to run the ball and make some plays. You add DJ Moore, you assumed, and you get Chase Claypool, who I'm sure they assumed was going to be better after having a full year, a full offseason under his belt with them. They just aren't good offensively. And obviously you lost David Montgomery in the offseason. That maybe that plays a huge part in their inability to turn around and hand the ball off to a guy like David Montgomery. But they just aren't good offensively. And I don't know the rhyme or reason for it. I think you need to get Justin Fields back into some running game, some called quarterback runs, some power reads, some things where he can make a decision with his eyes and his legs and get the ball going forward. And then that will open up some of the things that they can do offensively.
What did the Chiefs do after they lost to Tampa and Mahomes was just under duress for the whole game in the Super Bowl?
They got some offensive linemen.
They got 5 new offensive linemen.
There's some really
built
good
a new
ones.
offensive line. When's the last time we've seen the Bears do that?
The Bears don't have never. I don't know. They have no rhyme or reason. This is the only franchise that I can think of that if you who is the first quarterback that comes to mind when you think of the Bears? Jim McMahon?
Yeah.
He's probably the best quarterback. Sid Luckman.
Cutler was there.
I would take Jim McMahon.
I would too. But Cutler, in terms of numbers, I mean, he's not going to win any Super Bowls. You're right. Jim McMahon is the guy.
He's the guy you think of. Receiver, who's the guy you think of?
Willie Gault.
When did they play football,
1980s.
That's a problem.
The league has changed so much, and the Bears haven't changed a bit.
That is the problem. When you think of defenders, not linebackers, you're going to say Singletary, Urlacher. You're going to think of those guys. But when you think of offense, Walter Payton is the first name that comes to mind for the Chicago Bears. Who has been anything since then? They've had some good guys, but not to that level. And so that's the problem. Offensively, they have not figured this thing out in 30, 40 years.
And that goes back to ownership. The franchises that are bad for a reason because it starts at the top. You look at the Arizona Cardinals, who I like Michael Bidwell, but he's not a good football owner. And you look at the Bears and you look at the Browns.
I was going to say the Browns, the Haslams, yes.
Right. You just look, and the common denominator among the consistently poor organizations is their ownership.
100%. I agree with that. And I just wanted to touch on that, too. I thought it was great. Did you guys see the quote that Patrick Mahomes had yesterday about Fields, where he just kind of reminded him, he was like, look, you're in the league for a reason. So I thought that was very nice for Patrick Mahomes to step up and say that. Just one last one, because I have to ask you this. How are you feeling about your Steelers going to this weekend, facing the Raiders, or will they be able to move the ball down the field a little bit?
Listen, you know why I'm confident?
Okay, yes.
We got a guy named Alex Highsmith. We got a guy named TJ Watt. Minka Fitzpatrick, hopefully he's healthy. We got some guys on the defensive side of the ball. They scored points on Monday night last week. They scored 2 touchdowns.
There you go.
The Steelers offense may have only scored 1. So if you got that defense, I'm good. I'm okay.
Somebody had a rumor of Najee and a pick going to Indy for Jonathan Taylor.
I don't know if does anything. I don't know if it's Najee Harris is the problem. I don't think he is.
I don't think so either.
I think the problem is the inability to. I told Randy, the first game of the year they played the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers got a guy named Fred Warner. He's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
And so the first run that the Steelers had in that game, the offensive line. Now I know football, Randy. I've been playing football. I've been coaching football. I've been watching football for a long time. And when you do your scouting report. There's a few numbers on that 49ers team that you circle and highlight. 54 is one of them. You know where this guy is at all times. This guy was unblocked. He's the Mike damn linebacker on the defense. One of the best players on their defense, and they didn't block him, and he almost killed Najee Harris. Now, I don't think that that's a coaching thing. No. I think that that's a decision by the players not to block the Mike linebacker. And for me, that's problematic. And if you got Jonathan Taylor, I don't give a damn who's running the ball if the offensive line doesn't know to block the Mike linebacker.
And you got a young quarterback, right? And the first thing that he's supposed to do when he comes out of the huddle,
54 is the Mike.
Yep.
54 is the Mike.
Right.
Every single time.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah.
We know where he is, man.
And if you're a quarterback, you know he can kill you.
Block him. Block that guy. What are we doing?
Apparently, San Fran's doing something special. Did you guys see Nick Bosa get a free sprint at Daniel Jones last night? I mean, literally, he comes off the line carry, and it was like he was practicing his 10-yard splits in a 40-yard dash. I mean, Foles, nobody put a hand on him. It's like he's Nick Bosa. He's one of the most destructive players. Maybe know where he's at on the field.
You gotta know where those guys are.
Yep.
Man, I mean, the Giants' offensive line is in shambles as well. They're just dropping all over the place.
That's NFL News and Notes on 101 ESPN. Oh, by the way, on Sunday, we've got a triple header for you. The Jets are going to beat the Patriots starting at noon, Chiefs and Bears at 3:25, and then the Raiders will play the Steelers at 7:20. And I didn't mention this earlier. The Blues and Coyotes have a doubleheader tomorrow. We're doing both games. We got a noon pregame and a 6 o'clock pregame. We've got a hockey doubleheader tomorrow.
But I feel like hockey preseason, they don't like really put it out there. It sneaks up on you. You're just like, oh, training camp and preseason already?
Training camp one day, and then we've got
the regular season start like 2 days later.
They do not play around with that.
So a doubleheader tomorrow here on 101
bet on
ESPN.
NHL preseason games, which is insane to me.
Who does that?
What's the line?
Who does that?
There are people.
Coming up, we're going to go to San Diego, and Chip Caray is standing by to join us. And Chip has had an eventful night last night. We're going to talk about it next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are sitting around this weekend and you're thinking about upgrading your home with an outdoor project, I want you to visit my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. 800-300-4054, 800-300-4054, or on the web at ChesterfieldFence.com, and they'll do everything for you. Fences, decks, sunrooms, screen rooms. They'll do great work on patios. They do windows and doors at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They're really amazing. And if you want to get an upgrade to your house, well, go to their website, ChesterfieldFence.com, and see what they do in terms of the great outdoor projects, some beautiful sunrooms that they've done in the area. And if you want to get your deck turned into a beautiful sunroom and have a ceiling fan and put the big screen TV in there, they can do it for you at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They've been around for 55 years in the area. They do spectacular work, and they've done it for that entire time. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they'll do wonderful work for you. Find Chesterfield Fence and Deck on the web at ChesterfieldFence.com. Give them a call, 800-300-4054. Tell them Randy sent you and get 48 months interest-free financing at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday drop it to the Brewers 6-0, dropping that series 3-1. They are back in action tonight in San Diego to start a 3-game series there on the West Coast. Also back in action this weekend, it is St. Louis City SC. They face off against Minnesota United SC. That is a 7:30 kickoff for that game. And you'll have 2 different pre-games here on the Blues as they have a split squad matchup against the Coyotes. First game, 2 p.m., and then a 7 p.m. puck drop later on Saturday evening, and then you can catch your NFL triple header right here on 101 ESPN on Sunday. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. It's Brooke Grimsley. It's Kerry Davis. It's Randy Carricker. And we know that the Cardinals broadcast team, radio and TV, they go out for walks in all of the visiting cities. My sincere hope is that as our team goes for a walk today, that they don't get involved inadvertently in the inevitable fights that the broadcast teams have in San Diego. I know the leader of our group, though, and a man who takes great care of his hair, Chip Caray, is going to do great work. Good morning, Chip. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I've not yet gotten out amongst the San Diegans yet. Once I get my coffee and chat with Ron Burgundy, we'll go on a hot girl walk.
Chip, what is your favorite city to visit? San Diego has to be high on the list. It doesn't ever get too hot, too cold. It's almost perfect.
Yeah, it's a pretty good place. Yeah, I love Petco Park. It's beautifully designed. It's right in the middle of downtown. Obviously, their team, like ours, hasn't had the year that they'd like to have, but they're going to have 40,000 people in the ballpark for the next 3 days. And we're going to have a chance to play the role of the supporter. The Padres kind of have their backs up against the wall. They're not eliminated in playoff competition, so they've got to go 8-1, 9-1, something like that over the last 9-10 games to have a shot to get in as a wild card. But it's a great place right in the middle of downtown, beautiful area right next to the ballpark, kind of like their ballpark village, which is all part of the city, the gas lamp district. So great place to get out, meander around, great history, great military folks out here who come out and support the team. It's truly a highlight of the year to come visit.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot with this because I have to follow up with the Anchorman comments. Now, who's who? Who's Ron Burgundy? Who's Champ? And who's Brick, Chip?
That's a no-brainer. I'm Ron Burgundy.
No doubt.
Okay, and then the rest?
That's easy. Brick. Let's see. Brick. I'm going to go with Jimmy Ballgame. He's Brick, and I'm going to say that Brad is Champ. That would be of the three of us. That's how I'd go.
And then Alexa, I assume is Brick.
Alicia Corningstone, of course.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I really needed to know. I appreciate it. Well, asking you some Cardinals questions now. Miles Michaelis obviously got roughed up in his last outing yesterday, and in his last 7 starts, he has a 7.49 ERA. Is there any concern, or what is your concern level with Miles Michaelis right now?
This was just a year for him that just never got on the rails and stayed off, except for a stretch of 6 or 7 starts in the middle of the season. We talked about it a bit, Brooke, on the broadcast yesterday. Miles throws a lot of strikes, and he's around the plate a lot. We saw what Milwaukee's hitters can do when a pitcher throws a lot of strikes. They foul those tough pitches off, and then if he makes that one mistake 7 or 8 pitches into the sequence, it gets hit, and it gets hit hard pretty often. So I think he's going to go into the offseason and work on his repertoire, see if there's something he can tweak to get more swing and miss. He doesn't get a lot of that because, again, as I said, he's around the plate so much of the ball is put in play. But the Cardinals know he's an innings eater. They know he's going to be a really critical piece to rebuilding this pitching staff next year, and hopefully without the WBC and without all of that and some off-season fine-tuning, he'll be back to the Miles Michaelis that was very, very effective the last couple of years of rotation for the Cardinals.
Chip, the number of injuries that have piled up against the Cardinals has been just absurd to me. What have you thought about all these injuries? Some of them from, just happenstance, sliding into the bag and hurting your finger. What have you seen from this season and all the injuries that the Cardinals have had?
Yeah, Kerry, it kind of sums up the way the year's gone, hasn't it? It's Richard Petty's hit the wall in turn 4 at Daytona. He's leaking oil as he tries to get to the finish line. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. When you think of the players the Cardinals were counting on to have big years, it just hasn't happened. Tyler O'Neill's been on the IL 3 times. He played, 72 games. Lars Nootbaar's been hurt 3 times. We've lost Brendan Donovan, who's so critically important to this team. Now Nolan Gorman is out. Contreras is out. I mean, it's been one thing after another, especially here in the last couple of weeks, which only exacerbates the problem the Cardinals are having, which is it's been a rough year, and we're playing good teams that are battling down the stretch in a very difficult part of the schedule. What do I make of it? It's just circumstance. It's happenstance. It's freak of nature. But I think it reemphasizes the need for improved organizational depth, which I think Mo and the staff have tried to do at the deadline, and they'll try to continue to do this offseason. But, when you look at your roster and think, it only takes 26 or 28 guys to get to the postseason or get to the end of the season, you're crazy. The Cardinals have used 51 different guys, and they'll probably have a couple of more of them on the roster when we get to the ballpark today to play San Diego. So it's been that kind of year for sure.
Chip Caray with us on 101 ESPN. He'll be on the call tonight for the Cards and Padres from Petco Park on Bally Midwest. And Chip, with all the injuries, the Cardinals had a 2-month stretch about where they were top 5 in offense in Major League Baseball. They had about a 2-month stretch before they lost their guys where they were very good in defense. They've never really been able to achieve that 2-month stretch with pitching. But what aspect of this team that you've seen that had a good stretch this year do you look forward to most for next year?
Gone for half this season, it's noticeable. This guy is a gamer. He's a ball player. I think Tommy Edman is a ball player. Nootbaar's approach at the plate is noteworthy and good, and he's an excellent player, too. The growth of Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker certainly has been noticeable. I think the 2 areas, obviously, the Cardinals have to improve. We've talked about it, beating it to death, and everybody knows it, pitching, both in the pen and in rotation. And secondly, the Cardinals have to be a lot better defensively. I think the shift is something that affected this team in the first months of the season. They didn't have a whole lot of range. They didn't make plays that they needed to make. We've seen some of that in the last 2 days too. But pitching and defense go hand in hand. If you want your pitching staff to be good, you got to catch the ball, you got to call it, you got to frame it, you got to steal strikes. And you have to make the plays that big league players are supposed to make. And all too often this year, that didn't happen, especially with the pitch-to-contact staff. So swing and miss stuff, finishing off sequences by getting chase from opposing hitters, catching the ball and making the routine play consistently, those are all things that I think are really going to help catapult the Cardinals back to where we all expect them to be.
Well, speaking of some of the injuries that we were talking about, it felt like it was especially critical for Dylan Carlson and Tyler O'Neill to stay healthy so that the Cardinals could evaluate them and their plans for the offseason moving forward. How do you think that they will handle those two going to this offseason and approach them when they're trying to figure out things for next season?
That's exactly right. Staying on the field is a skill set. It's unfortunate, but it's something that you have to look at. The Braves, had 4 guys at one point that had played every single game this year, and they were in their starting lineup every day. The Cardinals haven't really had that luxury much this season, and that makes it incredibly difficult for a front office to put together a roster and a manager to fill out a lineup card. You're right. I think the Cardinals don't really know what Dylan Carlson is. I think they have a really good idea of what Tyler O'Neill is. Unfortunately for Tyler, fairly or unfairly, he just hasn't been able to stay on the field for the last couple of years, and that's important. How do you count on a guy and give him a long-term deal if you don't know if he's going to stay healthy? And I think that's a challenge that every GM has, regardless of who the player is. And I think that's something the Cardinals are going to have to look at, not just with Tyler, but with all their guys as they project what this roster is going to look like, not just for 24, but for 25, 26, and 27 as well.
Chip, through the wonder of the internet, I have discovered that at Men's Warehouse, they have a Calvin Klein big and tall burgundy suit.
Oh. Do they make it in tall and fat?
Oh, man, you just use that 6'5". Just say 6'5". You carry that weight, whatever it is, you carry it very, very well.
Well, as my friends all say, I'm just very short for my weight. So I'm actually 6'6", so I'm going to work on that this offseason, I promise.
There we go. Hey, we always appreciate you joining us, and especially from the West Coast. You got up early for us, and we can't thank you enough. We will talk to you next week when the Cardinals are back home. Have a great trip and a great walk this morning in San Diego.
Always a pleasure, Randy. And who says I got up? I may just be getting in.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
By the way, Point Loma Seafood will be the best shrimp salad that you ever had if you get to Point Loma Seafood today or tomorrow.
Sounds great. I appreciate the recommendation. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
All right, my man. Take care.
Okay.
That is the great Chip Caray joining us on 101 ESPN. I love the fact that they're going to have our news team is going to get together. And by the way, I was glad that he was the one that said Jimmy Ball game.
Well, that's why I wanted to leave it up to him to be able to say that. So it wasn't on us.
No,
we want to make that very clear. It wasn't on us. We just asked the question and he answered. And it happened to be maybe what we would have answered.
Loud noises!
That's great.
Coming up next, we've got rock and roll and the betting slip on 101 ESPN.
Get your German on at the St. Charles Oktoberfest, sponsored by Fastlane Convenience Stores, September 22nd through the 24th. It's the largest family-friendly Oktoberfest in the Midwest, with more fun than we can say here in historic downtown St. Charles. Visit stcharlesoktoberfest.com to learn more.
Hey, you know, there's only a few weeks of more great weather remaining, and you need to plan one more big outing with your family and friends. How about the NHRA Camping World Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway, September 29th to October 1st? The NHRA Midwest Nationals are back, and it's the perfect weekend to take the camper out to the track, do some tailgating, and watch 335-mile-an-hour nitro funny cars and top-fuel dragsters as they unleash 10,000 horsepower. The ground pounds, the earth shakes, and you'll experience a thrill like nothing else in sports. Go to WWTRaceway.com now to get your tickets, your campsite, or your tailgate spot. It's going to be amazing, and you will absolutely love the fact that the biggest stars in the drag racing circuit are out there. Ron Capps, Antron Brown, Robert Height, and the living legend John Force are all going to be there, back for the biggest drag race of the 2023 season. The big event is on Sunday. It's September 29th through Sunday, October 1st. It's the NHRA Camping World Series Midwest Nationals, and it's brought to you by Illinois Tourism and Downstate Illinois.
Counting down the minutes in your boring job, but still need a way to pay the bills? Add some excitement to your day by working with Keystone Event Staffing. Employees at Keystone Event Staffing work in St. Louis's most popular sporting and concert venues, so you always have a memorable shift. To apply, visit us online at KeystoneEventStaffing.com or call 314-878-7200. That's KeystoneEventStaffing.com or 314-878-7200. Keystone Event Staffing. Better people mean better events.
I want to rock. And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
And down the stretch of this edition of the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN with Brooke Grimsley and Carrie Davis. I'm Randy Carricker, and Matthew Rocchio has Rock and Roll here on a Friday on 101 ESPN.
And it's a Friday before a big weekend of college football, a slightly less big weekend of NFL football, and a big city game. Unfortunately, I do not have the lines here for the Blues games because we encourage you to get out there and have some fun betting, but we do not encourage degeneracy, and that is what betting on NHL preseason would be.
That's what they do in the afternoon.
Don't judge people.
No. Sometimes you need to.
If
you shouldn't judge people.
Sometimes you have to.
Brad Thompson would absolutely bet on preseason hockey.
That is some sicko
stuff.
He
he admits he's a degenerate. You got to have some action. Action.
You can get there now.
Carrie, it's sicko stuff. Come on, let's just be honest. Okay, thank you.
I'm not betting on preseason.
This is my point.
Because I don't know.
Can you imagine?
It doesn't matter. You don't know who half the guys are or what they're going to do or.
And like preseason football, fine. They get like 2 or 3 weeks of practice before week 1. These guys have been on the ice for 3 days.
It wouldn't matter.
They all come in early anyway.
Still though, man, that is such a small, short margin. Oh my God.
I won't poke fun at anybody that wants to bet a few dollars.
Professionals. All right, fine. Yeah. Let's dive into our Saturday bets with some big college football ones. After a week last week where there was really only like one ranked matchup, we have just a ton of them today. We're not going to get to all of them, but right off the bat, we're going to get to the big one, and that is Colorado versus Oregon. They are in Eugene, and it is a 21-point spread for the Buffaloes right now.
Oh, for the Buffaloes?
Yeah, 20. Really? They're plus 21 right now, Colorado. I mean, they're ranked 19th. Oregon's ranked 20. Oregon's ranked 10, so it's plus 21. They have to cover 21, sorry.
Oregon's the favorite.
Yes, Oregon's the favorite, sorry.
I'm going
to take plus 21 for Colorado.
I take Colorado to cover.
I would, too.
Yeah, I'm going to take Colorado.
I don't think they'll win.
I don't know.
It'll be close.
I think it's going to be. There's this thing about confidence, man. When this Colorado team has so much confidence in what they're doing right now, They're feeling like they can run through a wall. Now, Travis Hunter not being there, I think impacts them more defensively than offensively. So we'll see how it goes.
I didn't write down the outright number there because I didn't think anybody would want it, but let me grab it right here for you, Randy, so that people know what we're dealing with. Outright right now for an Oregon win, or for a Colorado win over Oregon, you can get plus 680 on the Buffaloes right now. Plus 680
Illinois in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
All right, we're just going to take Colorado though with the points, because why not make it a little bit easier? Here's another close one: Ohio State and Notre Dame. Ohio State's getting 3 points, only has to cover 3 points right now. -3 for Ohio State, +3 for Notre Dame. I personally think that's a nice solid 10 to 12 point victory for Ohio State. I think that's an easy one on -3 there.
Write these down. Colorado.
What do you think?
Ohio State.
You're going to go with the Golden Domers? Really? Okay, here's the thing. There's just so many instances of Notre Dame being fraudulent over the last 10 years in college football. And I hedge towards fraudulent. I head towards that happening with Notre Dame almost every time when they have a big matchup. And it's early this year, and we haven't seen them against a good team yet.
Thing is, and I know that Ohio State does an amazing job of recruiting, but think of all the guys that Ohio State lost. Now, they do have Marvin Harrison still.
Yep.
But they have a different look offensive line. They have a new quarterback. Their defense lost some key performers. They're still great. They're always going to be great. But I think if ever you were going to pick a time for Notre Dame to pull the upset, this would be it.
I don't know. With Ohio State, Marvin
Notre
Harrison.
He's great.
Are they at Ohio State? Where are they playing?
It's in South Bend.
Yeah, it's at Notre Dame. I still take Ohio State.
I agree. I think
Ohio State is just I think they're the better team.
James Laurinaitis left Notre Dame to go to Ohio State.
Yeah, okay.
On that staff now.
And then here's the last of our. By the way, you brought that up. I always loved, my favorite thing in college football history might still be AJ Hawk's parents when he was there having a half Ohio State, half Notre Dame jersey.
Oh yeah,
because his sister went to Notre Dame. I always loved that part. But our last college football game on the slate: Iowa, number 24th ranked, facing off against Penn State. Iowa's getting 14.5 points. Anytime I get a Big Ten matchup with a 14.5 point spread, I got to be looking at it one way or another. I'm not saying Iowa wins this one. I'm just saying I'd be shocked if they lose by 2 full touchdowns. It is in Happy Valley.
I think I would take Penn State to cover in this one. I don't think that Iowa can score with Penn State.
Oh, Iowa has never been a heavy scoring team.
No, they have not, but they also don't get blown out.
13 points. I don't know. 14 points does feel like a lot. I may go Ohio State, Iowa covering in this one.
Okay.
All right, and then let's go over to.
Brooke, what are you thinking here? Iowa.
I don't think Iowa's going to score.
Big 12. Keep it.
Thank you.
10.
Big
what about 10?
Okay.
10 points?
Well, do you like an over-under on the 40.5 better than a 14.5 spread?
I'm going over.
For that game? For Iowa
Man,
and Penn State?
wow.
I'm going under.
I think under, too.
30 to
Iowa's,
7.
yeah.
See, I'm thinking.
You said 40.5?
40.5.
30 to 10, and you just make it under.
See, I was thinking like 31-14. That's why I was going
to say 27 to 10 is what I was going to say.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Let's leave that one off.
31-10. Bet the over. Betting the under is nerve-wracking, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I always bet the over.
Fine. You know what? We'll scrap that one because there's a little discrepancy here. Can I get you guys for our third college football bet?
Sure.
Over 52.5 for number 22 UCLA versus number 11 Utah State.
Way over.
Or Utah. Over 52.5 for two big Pac-12 teams.
Chip Kelly's team puts up 42 themselves.
I'm going to say over.
Yeah. Everyone's feeling the over 52.5 there. So there's our third college football bet. And let's clear out our betting slip for Saturday. And that is with the City game. They are facing off against Minnesota United FC. The draw and the win for St. Louis are the same odds. You get plus 280 on either one of them. I'm feeling they get out of the rut of draws, Randy. I'm feeling a win for St. Louis
I'm feeling a win, too. You can't do another draw, right?
What are you doing, Rob?
I'm feeling a win.
That's what he said.
Well, then we're going to win.
You know what?
You spoke it into existence. Remember that on Monday.
All right, fair enough.
Power of the secret.
All they do is win, win, win.
All right, and I need to get this college football bet or NFL bet on here. Chargers at Vikings. They are plus 1.5. Vikings are favored minus 1.5.
Vikings.
All day long, right?
Vikings.
They're home. The Chargers are bad. They're not looking solid. It's only a 1.5 spread. It's Vikings all day long. By the way, if you can get a minus 105 with that spread, I say screw it. Take the minus 110 on the money line.
Vikings.
Vikings all day long.
I always wonder about, and especially a poorly coached West Coast team that has to get up at 5 in the morning their time to get on a bus and start a game at 10 a.m. their time.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing to do for an athlete.
What schedule is everything.
Yeah.
One final one, because I think this is also a really good number. Broncos are in Miami, and the Dolphins only have to cover 6.5.
They do.
Ooh.
Absolutely, right?
Yes.
That's a touchdown victory easy for the Dolphins over the Broncos.
Yes.
We just saw what Sam Howell was able to do with that Broncos secondary. You're telling me Tua and gang can't do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so there it is. Colorado plus 21. Over 52.5 on UCLA, Utah. We're going to go with Ohio State getting 3 points in Notre Dame. City win plus 280. And then we're going to take the Vikings outright over the Chargers and the Dolphins minus 6.5 over the Broncos. I love that for the betting slip. We're going to win some money this weekend.
Let's win some money. Hey, don't forget Blues and Brews tonight over at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, and we'll try to stop by. Carrie's got a game tonight, so go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
You still can't come stop by, Carrie? No. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
My apologies.
What if you're up by like 6 touchdowns at halftime? Can you just check out?
That's disrespectful.
Okay.
That's very that's probably worse than not showing up at all.
Great job by our producer and audio engineer, Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Brooke, this is fun. Have a great weekend.
Yes.
And we'll see you.
How about that?
How about that? I will be at Blues and Brews.
All right. CD, good luck tonight.
Show us your face. We want to see your face.
Who
said that? You want to see my face?
You know who Parkway North's biggest rival is?
Who?
Parkway Central.
Okay.
Kill them.
All righty. Because you said it.
Yep.
All right.
Let's do it. Just tell the kids beforehand. Hey, do it for my co-host.
I got you. Randy Carragher said, let's do this. It's done.
We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. Thanks for rejoining us on YouTube. We are back, baby. We are back. We've got a balloon party with T-Mac and Ajax coming up, and then BK and Ferrario out at the Centene Ice Center with their show from 11 to 2, and all of us will be on YouTube all day long and for the rest of eternity, apparently. For all of us until Monday morning at 7. Have a great weekend, St. Louis.
That's right.